I gotta press OK. Did it go
There
through
we
all right?
go. Yep.
Yep. Cool.
Folks, good evening. We got through episode 71. We're now on episode 72. Tonight is a real treat for me. I am joined by the one, the only, Mr. Ian Edwards, 2023 World Archery European 3D Champion and 2024 World Archery World 3D Champion. And I've managed to go a whole 30 seconds without fluffing words. That has got to be some kind of record. Ian, good evening, sir.
Evening, buddy. Thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, thank you very much for coming on. Before we go any farther, I realised the other day Ian has a compound twin. Of course, Ian is.
Oh no, no.
Yes, this is going to go up, folks. Look at this. Let me see if I can get that on.
What do
Ian,
you all think, folks?
Ian could be Chance Bowburst's twin brother. I don't know how I can see.
It doesn't even shoot a proper bow.
Yeah.
And he looks like he looks like he's a lovely man. Let's leave it there. Before I insult somebody I don't even know.
From what I've seen, he's got a fairly good sense of humour.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But he can shoot me from distance, can't he?
Yeah. Yeah, to be fair, when I watched him shoot on video, he has one of the longest holds I've ever seen. And you watch the end of the long rod and it just doesn't move. The guy he must have ice in his veins. He really must. It's
So
incredible.
what does he shoot? What is his division, do you know?
Uh,
Class?
right. It's, you know what do they call it in ASA? Uh, Professional male freestyle, or wherever it is.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think he's won Vegas. He's won countless ASAs. He's he's got a list of achievements as long as your arm, but he just seems such a.
What do you think about compounders? All losers?
I'm just coming from compounding to trad.
I know you are.
Yeah,
I know you are, mate.
I kept losing all the time, all the time.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I know you are. No, I've got a compound anyway. I've got a compound too.
I've always said I don't care what anybody shoots. Shoot what you love. Just enjoy yourself. And
Yeah.
I don't mind a bit of banter. I mean, down at the club, they kept saying, when you're taking your training wheels off, I said, well, when you stop spending half hour behind the fucking box looking for your arrows.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
No, I'm a firm believer. Shoot whatever you love. We all love shooting. Let's just get out, do it, have a laugh together, and enjoy it.
yeah. No, totally, totally.
Right now, see, one of my friends said, Joy said you'd be good on here because she shot with you a couple of EFA shoots, and she just said, Richie's got the most incredible sense of humour. You'll have a real good laugh. But
Yeah, yeah. Even when I'm competing heavily, even in the worlds, I'm just like yabba yabba yabba. Yabba. For me, that's just the fun of it, right?
yeah,
Those few seconds when you're shooting, the shutters come down, I'm on.
yeah,
As soon as I've shot, shutters up. And when you're shooting, I'll just be in your ear hole, just like giving you shit whilst you're in the middle of shooting. That's maybe that's what works for me. But no, the banter is a huge part
yeah.
of shooting the bow for me. I work on my own a lot. I train with a bow on my own a lot. So when I go to the club, it's just a release to hang out with the guys
Yeah.
and just basically shit talk them, and
Oh,
that is my
God,
favorite.
yeah.
It's
One of the guys I shoot with, what's that book called? Is it Toxopholite, that one by Roger De Whoever from Tudor Times, where he says, if your friend's shooting badly, insult them until they shoot well. And he shoots English longbow, so if I shoot round with him and I have a bad shot, he just looks at me and said, wanker, called yourself an archer. He said, I can shoot better than that with my longbow. But I love that kind of thing. It's just,
yeah, me too.
the world switches off and you're just there
Yeah,
having fun with your friends in a lovely location.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, being in the woods, bloody therapy.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
I saw a video from your eldest lad, Finn, and you got Peter Panitis, you have, haven't you? Because you don't look as old as you are. And I was, he said, you sure he's not your brother? There doesn't look 20 odd years between you. But
Yeah.
I didn't realise he did this short video, and folks, you need to head over to Ian's Instagram page. I'll drop the link in the show notes and watch this video. And he said you took up archery 4 years ago, and in
Yeah,
4 years, was that the first time you'd shot a bow?
yeah. So the story behind all of it, if I give you like the complete backstory,
Yeah,
my archery journey started a long time ago, but this is how it started. And I've never told this story, like, even to some of the guys at the club. I've never actually mentioned it. Well, what it was, I was heavily into hunting.
yeah,
So the way I now compete with a bow, I used to hunt.
yeah,
And I would hunt only for the pot. You know, I wasn't doing any vermin control. I was just literally hunting for food.
yeah,
And I'd have 2 chest freezers at home, and I'd fill those chest freezers up with meat through the season, and then me and the boys, they would eat their way through it
yeah,
for the rest of the year, and that was my lifestyle,
yeah,
to the point where it's very hard to. I didn't hunt. I lived hunting.
yes.
So like 4 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week, I was out.
Wow.
on the land. We lived in the West Country in Devon. I hunted with dogs, so I had lurchers.
Yeah.
So probably if you think like Snatch,
Yes.
when the guys come out with the dogs, hair coursing dogs. So that's what I had, right? I had that type of dog, and I hunted a lot. Again, used to do a lot of it alone. Just me and the dogs, and it was a beautiful relationship because I'd bring those dogs up really close to me, and they were purpose-bred dogs purely for hunting.
Yes.
So your connection to nature became even closer because you related to nature through the dogs as well, because they would be reading things which you couldn't read because our senses just aren't the same.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing thing for me, and I would hunt from the Somerset levels all the way down to the Jurassic Coast.
Oh, wow.
And being in love with nature like I am, it would really create a connection with the moon cycles and so on. But whilst doing that, I came across a friend of mine introduced me to another guy, and this guy used to buy and sell hunting gear.
Yeah.
We're going back some years now, so this is like pre-internet, right? And he had this catalog, and he would buy stuff in for everybody else and make a bit of money on it. He used to buy and sell knives and bits and pieces. But he had a catalog called Cabela's. Have you ever heard of Cabela's?
Oh, the massive store in the States. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. So he had this catalog of Cabela's, and he would open it up and go, okay, choose what you want. And we'd be all like, oh my God, it's like a sweet shop, because we've never seen anything like it. We didn't even know this sort of thing existed. Don't forget West Country.
Yeah.
Pretty quiet down there. And then he had this bow in this case. But just to give you an idea, this guy, his name's Steve.
Yeah.
And he was a bow hunter. But Steve was a very severe character. So the sort of guys who I'd turn up there with were, how can I put it? They were pretty rough guys, right? Let's put it that way, right? I won't say any more than that, but they were pretty rough guys. So you turn up there with Steve, but everybody watched exactly what they said around Steve.
Yeah.
Because he was severe. Steve was severe. But severe in a very straightforward way. And the only way I could describe it was like a samurai.
Yeah.
Everything in his house was immaculate, was clean. And what Steve said in his house, you just knew you went along with it because don't know if you'd come out. You know what I mean? It was like he was a serious chap, right? And then one time, I think I was there on my own, and I asked, and we were chatting, and he went up and he got the bow and he showed me the bow and he opened it, and I just looked at this thing, and it had a camo on this compound bow.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with this thing. And then he would because I showed so much love for this bow, he started to talk to me a bit more, and he said to me, "Oh, come round another time, have a cup of tea with me." And and he started telling me hunting stories with this bow. Just blew my mind. And Steve had lived off the land for a stretch for 7 years, where he just lived off the land.
Yeah.
All in the West Country. And this was like incredible, what he'd done. And the years went by, and Steve said, if you ever give up the dogs and you're interested in the bow, I would show you. But if you keep the dogs going, I won't show you.
Yeah.
So it was a clear thing. And the years and years went by. And then just before lockdown, my wife said to me, look, I think it's time, you gave up the dogs.
Yeah.
And I was like, fair enough, because it didn't bring all good things away. Let's put it that way, right? There's a skillful way of saying it, right? And I said, yeah, okay. And I said, but I will need something, and I think I'd love to hunt with a bow.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, fine. No, I'll support that. She said, I said, fine. So by this point, Steve had moved, and I hadn't seen him for like 3 years. So I went out to his place, knocked on his door, and said to him, look, hi, Steve, I'll come out to see you. I would like to take you up on offer on the bow. You said to me. And he said, okay, come in. And he sat me down and he gave me the talk. Like, basically, I'll show you everything you need to know with a bow, how to maintain it, how to shoot it, everything.
Yeah.
But if you mess me around once, it's over.
Yeah.
Don't come to my door again. And I knew that what he meant, and he was a very, very straight man. So I was like, fine, done. And then he gave me a list of equipment to buy. We went all through it, checked it all out, and we got a compound, and we got the PSE 35 Evolve.
Oh,
it
yes.
was when the new cams had just come out.
Yeah.
All in, it was in, trying to think of the hunting pattern on it.
Mossy Oak. Of course, PSE had a big. Was that the year they moved away from, just because it was always either Skullworks or Mossy Oak?
There was another one. No, it was another one, and it was Kafahu. Not Kafahu, sorry.
Kuyu.
Yeah.
Kuyu Verde.
Kuyu.
Yes, my
That's it,
PSE
yeah.
Bow Madness Epics was Kuyu Verde. That was the first.
That
was the first year they did it.
Bloody loved it.
Yes.
Look, just this bow looked the part. And he trained me how to shoot it. Then I started to hunt with it.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly, because I got it for hunting. And
Europe or America hunting, or both?
Europe. Europe. Yeah, just Europe. And I only shot the bow when I was hunting.
Yeah.
Really. It wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough. And so then I picked up the recurve. What happened? We went down to Quicks. We had a Quicks near us.
Yeah.
Went to Quicks. And this was now halfway through lockdown, whatever the hell that was. I just remember it was a good summer. Right?
Oh, it was a lovely summer. I spent
right?
so much time in the garden.
That was it. Yeah. Finn came back. Finn was in Thailand at the time, my oldest son. He came back from Thailand. He wasn't interested in the compound, but when I got that recurve, he was like, because Finn used to hunt with a catapult.
Oh, wow.
And Finn was like probably the best in the family with a catapult.
Yeah.
Again, we won't incriminate ourselves, but the freezer used to get filled with our feathered friends with the catapults. And so he said, wow, the bows, the recurve is like a catapult, like a big catapult, Dad. And he could shoot it almost straight away. And instinctively, he had that good eye-hand coordination. And the cool thing was, Finn's right-handed like me, I'm right-handed, we would both shoot left-handed. And we're like, oh, wow, we can all use the same stuff.
Yeah.
So we had one bow, one set of arrows, and we had enough finger tabs, but we didn't have enough arm guards. So sometimes we'd go, oh, no, I don't care. And our arms would get smashed to pieces, because we didn't know what we were doing. We had aluminium arrows that would go anywhere, and we had one deer target, And in the end, we spent most of the lockdown with one arrow each, because we'd smashed up all the others, which we looked after then. We made sure we didn't smash up, and one bow, and just pass it backwards and forwards. And we played a game closest to the center.
Yeah.
Which then became the World Championships. Obviously, only in our garden, like the Americans do. They have the World Championships, which never leaves America. Well, we have the World Championships, which never left our garden. I think I won it twice. Noah won it once, and Finley he lucked out every time. But it was so much fun. We would literally shoot after we'd all finished our work. We'd shoot until it was too dark to see anymore. We'd become obsessed. It was so much fun.
It is addictive, isn't it? Ridiculously addictive.
Yeah. And we'd play this game because the last person who got closest to the center to win the point could then choose where you shoot from next. And so the boys would obviously do stuff like climb up the side of the building, hang off the side of the building and do a shot, right? Knowing that Dad couldn't hold on as well as them, right? And it was just stuff like that, which we did, which was just brilliant fun. And then we started, then as we walked in from it got too dark, we'd go straight onto YouTube. And YouTube was full of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But we didn't know who anybody was, and we were discovering everybody. It was just an amazing time. I still remember, because it wasn't that long ago, that when we found the Push video.
The very first one, the Push, a traditional archery film. I have watched that so many times in the last few weeks.
Have you?
This transition across to trying single streak.
Of course, yeah. So that was it. And we stuff like that. So we were like, we'd shoot the bow in the evening, then we'd go in, sit down, all of us on the sofa together, all three of us, right? Wife in the kitchen sorting stuff out. She didn't obviously want to watch it, right? And all we done was talked about. And then they said, fixed crawl. What does that mean? So we'd go out, we'd try it the next day. We'd crawl down. Shit, that means you put the arrow by your eye. You can see where you're shooting.
Yeah.
Oh my God, why doesn't everybody do this, right? Why is this the first time we found this out? Stuff like that. The discovery was amazing and so much fun. But our interest was only hunting.
Yeah.
Right? All the time. So then I had to break the news to Steve. Steve, I think I want to hunt with a recurve. Ooh. And he's like, no. And I'm like, why not? He went, because you're not good enough. And I'm like, well, no, not yet. I'm not. He said, what, you'll have that sort of dedication? He said, I'll expect you then to shoot every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. He said, to be able to do the animal justice, because Steve was always about, you have to do what's right, even though he was severe. To tell you how severe Steve was, right? To give you an idea how severe. Steve ran all different woods and so on.
Yeah.
And as I say, I ran dogs. And Steve, this was how he would be with me. He'd go, if I ever catch you or your dogs in my woods, I'll kill them, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, I know, mate. And he's like, okay, as long as we're clear, because I will kill your dogs if I see them in my woods.
Yeah.
And that was just how it was. But at the time, I just accepted that. But it kind of kept the relationship so clear. So then he said, okay, so you're going to start the recurve. Right. And then he said, right, I'm going to be back. I'd see him like once a week. He'd just pop over only for a short period of time. And he would just have a look. Then pop over, have a look how he's shooting. And he had this, that he wanted me to hit this sort of size.
Yep.
A fair way back at different distances. And that was the training. It went on for a little while. And then, then I came across Aaron Snyder.
Oh,
right.
The man's, he's almost a deity, isn't he?
Right. Yeah.
But he's a savage.
But he was doing what I wanted to do with the recurve.
Yeah.
So I got myself a Satori, chucked a set of Uka limbs on it. At the time, I think I had a 29.5-inch draw length, and I was pulling 50 pounds. So then I chucked then on there a 600 grain arrow.
Yeah.
And I was pretty damn accurate with that. And then at this point, I think we've moved up to this end of the country, so we're now in Surrey area.
Yeah.
And I joined Company of 60 Bow Club.
I know
And
them. There's a guy named Plinking Fun, a YouTube channel called Plinking Fun, and
okay.
he goes around the 3D shoots. Mate to Pete Humphries that works at Silver Archery in London.
Yep.
And
That's it.
I've seen a few of their shoots on his YouTube channel. Looks a lovely club.
Yeah, it's an amazing club. We've got 4 permanent 3D courses. So it's really good. You know, you can always go down there and shoot something different. So I was there and I started shooting 3Ds, and that really improved my shooting a lot. And then I started traveling with a bow, traveling into Europe, hunting with a bow. I took I went over for the rut, for the red deer rut. So it was for the stags. That's amazing. You know, that was up in the back of Madrid in Spain.
Nice.
The roaring of these stags. I mean, it's incredible. And you're out there amongst them, you know, and you get dropped off.
Yeah.
In the mountainy hillside in the dark, 4 o'clock in the morning, and as it's coming light, as they start roaring, you know, you try and stalk your way in on them. And I just look, I was just so lucky. I was in the right place at the right time. I was ground stalking, and I managed to take a stag, which was a meddling stag. And I was the first person to ever do it on that estate, on those grounds for 25 years. Yeah. And it was just one of those perfect shots, perfect moments. It was a 42-yard shot. My point on was 40 with that setup. I just held it, just blew straight through him. He went 30 yards, and then was down. And then to let you know as well, you know, for those who are like, oh no, that's terrible. Well, that stag then goes into the food chain.
Yeah.
You know, it's not wasted at all. You know, in fact, it was a celebration of the whole, you know, all the they don't call them gamekeepers there, but you know, the groundsmen and so on, because they all get to take some stag home, you know, to some venison home for the family as well. It's brilliant. It's a lovely celebration. Wine was open for me. You know, the guy who owned the estate, he cried because he'd just never seen it. You know, he'd never seen it. It was the first time it'd been done in 25 years. So, you know, it was a moment. It was almost like more of a moment for them, kind of, than it was for me. My moment was just happened, but theirs was afterwards to celebrate it all.
Yeah.
And it's all part of their culture. You know, these people, you know, they live there. And then came back and went on a few more hunts, hunted mouflon, wild boar, and
was that stag the one you sent me the photo of?
Yeah.
I looked at that and I thought, well, the face looks like a red deer, but that rack looks like a goddamn elk.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's why I say it was a meddling.
Right back. I don't know whether it was just the camera angle or what, but it was right back. I'm looking, thinking.
No, he was a monster. That's why I say it was a meddling.
Yeah, it was
stag. You know,
huge.
Yeah. No, he was. He was an absolute monster. He was. Look, I say I was in the right place at the right time. You know, I was being. It was a gift from the gods. Then got back. And my wife got pregnant, so my trips then became a little bit less. And then we moved out to Surrey. And as we moved out to Surrey, near Company of 60, fun enough, I then realized with the baby on the way, or as the baby was being born, my hunting trips were going to be a lot less. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll get into competing, you know, and I'll compete. And I think in 2022, I did some competitions. And that year, I heard Alison Wright or Alison Kelly was on the Barebow podcast, and she spoke all about Archery GB.
Yeah.
I thought, oh wow, you can shoot for Great Britain, shoot in 3Ds. I thought, yeah, I'd like to do that. So I spoke to the wife, and she said, yeah, fine, okay, go for it. And then I had to decide what type of bow I was going to shoot. And I decided to go for the American flatbow, which everybody else in the world calls a longbow.
Yeah.
I decided I'll shoot a longbow. I like the idea of the wood.
I was going to say, why a longbow? Considering you've been compound and recurve, it's like you're almost bringing it more and more simple each time.
Yeah.
I say simple.
Two reasons.
Two
reasons.
My head.
Yeah, two reasons. One was I wanted to make it harder for myself. And I like the wooden arrows. A carbon arrow is soulless. A wooden arrow has a name. Do you know what I mean? Like you're one of some of them become like friends. You know, they're like, "Don't let me down, Dave." You know, it's like, here we go. It's just, and I could mess around with the wooden arrows. So whilst the little man was a proper baby, I could be in the house making up my arrows, fart-assing around in the kitchen, while he's there. It kind of gave me little crafty jobs I could do.
Yeah.
All around bow stuff. I don't know. It's that, and also it's the hardest one which travels. Like the English longbow is harder to shoot, but it doesn't travel in the same way. You can't shoot in the World Championships with one.
Yeah.
Or if you did, you'd be completely disadvantaged. So, so for me, it was that. It was the hardest one to shoot, which, you could shoot, was recognized internationally,
Yeah.
So that's why I did that. And then, then Roger Massey, from 1066 bows, he made me a bow. Really cool guy. Went down, saw him. We discussed all what I wanted in my bow. We came up with some clever little design tricks for the bow so that it would be World Archery legal, but at the same time making it really, really efficient for that.
Yeah.
He also supplied me with the arrows and taught me about wooden arrows as much as he could. Then that was it. And then it was all about getting on the team, qualifying for the team, which was no small feat. That was probably the hardest thing I did.
Yeah.
That was a really steep climb, that one. So that's my backgroundy history of the bow.
So I've always said the same about wooden arrows. To me, carbon's a science. It's cold, hard science. Wooden arrows always come across more of an art. You've got to have a feel for the wood. And it always looks a lot more complex, a lot more difficult, and a lot more potentially a lot more inconsistent than good old carbon fiber, which is just rattled up in a factory. And there seems to be, it's easier to get a degree of consistency than with carbon than it is with wood. Or is that?
Yeah, and with carbon as well, the material allows you to create the arrow you want.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, put some point weight on it, and you can still have it as light and stiff as you like.
Yeah.
But the problem is with the wood, you want it stiffer, it gets heavier, right? Yeah. It's like, and want your wooden arrow a little bit longer, it's not just going to be less stiff because it's longer. It's going to be less consistent because now you've got more wood in there.
Yeah.
So what you always want with your wooden arrows is to be as short as possible. Everyone, when they see me draw, they're like, "Oh my God, I think you made a mistake. Your arrows are too short." I'm like, "Yeah, are they?" Okay. Because my arrow will come literally back level with my riser.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have them come slightly inside the riser, depending on where the node is on the wood.
Yeah.
And it is because you just want a really, really short arrow.
Hang on. Really wood has nodes. I know carbon has nodes.
Yeah, wood has nodes. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. This isn't education. One of my friends from Wales, Kelvin, He hunts with trad bows, and his wooden arrows are insane. He's running about 26% FOC on them,
Wow.
but I think he's only setting up to shoot a maximum of 20 yards. I mean, that shot you took on the red stag, 40 yards. That's a long shot for a trad bow,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, that was 42 yards exactly. Um, yeah, it's ridiculously long. I
And
I just I I don't know. At the time, I had a 40-yard point on. The
yeah,
bow was I had those Uka limbs on it. They're super quick limbs. It was a 19-inch riser. I had nearly 29 and a half going on to 30-inch draw. It
yeah.
just spat those arrows out. I'm telling
Oh,
you,
yeah.
they whipped across there. Pretty flat trajectory for nearly like for just under a 600 grain arrow.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it
And
zipped through him.
plus, your
Yeah,
40-yard point on helps, doesn't it? You know, he's there at your
yeah,
distance. You're not having to
yeah,
gap him.
exactly. So you just felt, boom, there he is. Just I was what I did was I slowly got up. My legs, I'd been on the floor for so long, my legs were a bit gone. Got myself up, and as each time we went behind a small tree, I kept drawing, and then I was at full draw. Um, I could range find, so I had
Yeah.
to judge that distance. But I knew what 40 yards looks like
Yeah.
because it was my point on again. So everything made it easier, and I yipped to stand him still because he was walking through, but there was no way I was going to shoot a walking target.
Yeah.
Yipped, and as he stood, and then I yipped, he stood at almost all at the same time. I released, so that kind of helped my release as well
Yeah.
because my conscious mind went to my yip. So I mean, and came out of my so my release was nice and clean, and then he literally, because he turned to see me yip, and then a red stag has incredible detection of where you are with their ears. So he just turned straight, looked at me as because I released the arrow at the same time, and then he just turned. So he was slightly quartering away from me, which is the perfect shot.
In behind the
The perfect.
shoulder, aiming for the opposite leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it was perfect, and it went straight through him, clean pass through.
Wow.
So yeah, but I ran a crazy arrow in the Europeans.
What were
Talk
you
about
running?
FOC. I had 7% FOC.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. 7% FOC. I used to drill. Roger he had a pillar drill,
Yeah.
and he would. I did the first few, got them down because you could only get an 80 grain point. So I drill out the inside, and then Roger then started doing a pillar drill, drilling out the insides of these. So we're down to 60 grains. And then on the back, I had 2-inch feathers, 4 2-inch.
That's the setup I'm planning on running off my trad bow. I cheated. I went onto AliExpress, and of course, I'd listened to the push, the second episode with Cody Greenwood in the Trad Lab, where they were looking
Yeah,
at veins, and they
that's
got.
where I got. That's where I got the idea from.
Yep, same here. My friend Simon, he runs. In fact, damn, hang on, bear with me a minute. I'm just going to disappear off the camera. We were messing around last Saturday, and I've got some of his arrows here. I'm having a play with. Hang on,
Mm-hmm.
back in just a sec. I don't like turning side on because with the light there and a camera there, it actually gives me the appearance of having a dual line. When I turn side on, you can see it's like a walrus.
Oh, look
See,
at those. Yeah, nice.
4 2-inch bat wings on a helical. I'm going to switch them out for blazer profiles. I was having a mooch around on AliExpress and managed to find 100 2-inch parabolic feathers for a tenner.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
thinking, yeah,
perfect.
I'm having those. So those are going to be getting stripped down and tuned. But as you say, Crazy Light 7% FOC. Watching some of the Tim Gillingham stuff when they were shooting 3D, he said they were down to like 5 and 6% FOC and never noticed the problem.
Yeah, see, I never noticed a problem with either, and I will go back. I'm in a huge experimental stage again at the moment because it's
Yeah.
just off season. So I may well go back to that again. I never had an issue with it because look, World Archery, you're only out to 30 meters. It's not like NAFAS. You don't have the longer shots.
Yeah.
So it is all about those short, accurate shots. So you would imagine that the heavier arrow would be the way to go. But I didn't find it.
Short one.
Because I tell you why. This is what I believe.
Yeah.
That flatter flying arrow.
Yeah.
Is twitchy. Yeah. Out your fingers. You have got to have a real clean release. If you're sticky on the release, have a heavier arrow, so it's a bit more forgiving. But if you've got a clean release, it just gives you a zippier, flatter flying arrow.
Yeah. Which
3D, if you get it out by a meter or so, because nothing drops out of the sky quicker than a wooden arrow. You know what I mean? It's like, you guys with your nice little carbons, they zip through the air, but a wooden arrow, nothing worse than seeing it not make it. So I'm always hunting a lighter arrow.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a balanced arrow. And then this year, the year just gone for the Worlds, I ended up doing extensive tests, and the most stable arrow I came up with, which was light in the end, was an 80 grain point at the front, which was around 10% FOC. Still not high, but higher than what I was used to. And then I ended up running 3 free fletch on the back. But I'm going to re-experiment again. I'm going to have another dig around, through the bad weather.
Do you bear shaft tune your woodies or not when they're that light on the FOC?
No.
It's a conversation I had with Simon. When he was running heavy FOC, he could bear shaft tune woodies. When they were light FOC, he couldn't. And the only thing we can think of is with a very light FOC, when the arrow hits a target, of course, the back end of the shaft's going to swing round, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And he said you just snaps them.
Yeah, snaps them. And also as well, if your release isn't quite right, they've got nothing to correct it. I just don't need to go through those sort of shots. For me, it's something which. So I did it again. So what's happened? I've changed all bow setup, and I haven't explained all of that yet. But I've changed the way I'm shooting the bow now. Everything. I've gone from 3-under to split finger.
Yeah.
And now shooting bows which are cut before center with a clean D shape, so that I can shoot them in NAFAS, shoot them in EFA, and shoot them in World Archery. So I did bear shaft again, but for that, what I do is, when you want to catch your arrows at the back of your arrow, the arrow nets?
Yes.
Yeah, so I put up an arrow net, and just in front of it, I hang also then like a rubber disc.
Yeah.
And all of these things, just kind of like the arrow hits and like bounces off of, doesn't go in and snap.
Yeah,
that's the plan. Anyway. So that's what I do. I do a little bit of that.
Yeah,
just to have a feel, just to give myself in the right direction. But honestly, after that, it's all paper tuning. Paper tuning gives you your real reading. There's nothing's going to give you a tighter reading than paper tuning. Out to like 6 meters.
Yeah.
If I'm getting bullet holes at 6 meters from a wooden arrow going round a blimmin' riser which isn't cut. Yeah, isn't cut. Is cut before center. I'm gold. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, you've got to accept what you're shooting. You're not shooting a carbon with a button. Or close to center. You're just not. So you have to accept that there is going to be a certain amount of
I was going to ask what distance you paper tune, because I remember Greg Paul said all the testing he'd done, 7 yards, around the 7 yards mark seems to be where an arrow is misbehaving the most.
Yeah. So 6 meters, yeah,
Yeah.
6 to 7 meters, yeah, definitely.
But
And then I
again,
go back a little bit further, and I come in and out, and I push it both ways to have a look. But you're going to see most of what you need to see at six.
yeah,
For me, 6 yards, which is about 7
yeah.
yards. And yeah, so um,
I presume you've got to have that perfect release again for paper tuning, because that's really going to show up a bad release, isn't it?
oh yeah, totally. So at 6 meters, yeah, if your release is bad, go again.
Yeah,
I have to do like 3 or 4 releases to get a good one. See if see what it actually is.
yeah.
Um, and that's it really. And then, like I say, I cut them as short as I possibly can, my arrows. Then I shoot them at long distance as well.
Yeah.
Around about 50 meters. Have a look how they behave in the air. I
Do
film
you
them too.
do
That's the
you
other thing I do.
find when you shot at longer distances, when you come back to World Archery 3D distances, they suddenly feel like a chip shot?
No, no.
Because I was watching folks like Cam Haynes. They shoot out. I mean, yeah, they're using compounds, but they'll practice it out beyond 100 yards. So when they're in the woods and they've got an animal at 40 yards, that suddenly feels like it's a 20-yarder, because they've
No, I
practiced
get it. I
much
get
longer
it.
distances.
No, I get it. I understand that. Yes, to do with feeling calm under the shot
Yeah,
and getting confident with it, and it's all to do with confidence building. That is, yeah. But no, what it is, the way you set yourself up and the way you hold the bow for a shorter shot, because
yeah,
most of world archery is around the 20 something meters.
yeah,
What I'd say, like the average sits
yeah,
around those 20s. And the way you hold and the way you set yourself up for a 50-meter shot
yeah.
is a different action.
Ah,
Everyone says, "Oh, you do everything the same." Yeah, of course you do. No, you don't. Right? Trust me. You just don't. Right. So when you're coming for your closest shot, the way you tuck yourself in, you've just got to practice those to
yeah,
make those work. Everyone, a few people have said to me, "Oh, yeah, I've gone and done Ephraim when I've come back to World Archery." It's just I just don't feel intimidated by it in the same way those 30-meter shots. I'm like, yeah, and then and how well do you actually shoot them? Because
yeah,
it's really about practicing what you're gonna do.
yeah.
Which brings me on to another point, which I'm got lots of opinions about lots of stuff.
Hey, I like it. I like this.
Right. See, there is so much stuff out there which just isn't true.
Yeah,
Right. Where you just see it, and because I've done so much of it, because I learned from YouTube.
yeah.
Like everyone talks about form is so important. No, it's not. Trust me.
I was
It's
always
just not.
told consistency is what's important, not form.
Right, consistency. Yeah. And
I've
if you're
watched-
consistently got bad form, brilliant. It does the same
yeah,
job as somebody who's got consistent good form. Obviously, you need good enough form that you can hit what you want to hit,
yeah,
and you're not hurting your own body through your bad form. I get all of that, but there's so much out there about how you should shoot and so on. And the proof of the pudding's in the eating. When you're competing at world level,
yeah.
you see some people who have the most beautiful form. I mean, it's like you stand back and goes, Hollywood. That is just beautiful. And then they get beaten by somebody with the crappiest form you've ever seen. And not just once, they get beaten year in, year out, right? And you go, why? Because the form doesn't get you it. It helps. I get that it helps, but obviously it's not the thing. And it's sold so many times as the thing, oh, you should shoot like this. Yeah, really? Like for instance, me.
Yeah,
To shoot wooden arrows, because I wanted to shoot the shortest wooden arrows possible, I shortened my own draw length by 1.5 inches. Right?
bloody hell.
Yeah, exactly. What does that do to your fucking form? Right? And this is like your normal stance. But I'd have my thumb up and I'd put my hand right up on the front of my face. I used to put wax, string wax, put string wax on the palm of my hand and stick the palm of my hand to my face. So there are 2 points of contact then. So I basically hold the weight of my bow on my neck. Ever heard of that?
No.
No, exactly. You're not gonna fucking read that in a book. Trust me, right?
Watching the videos of you shooting, I was trying to figure out the camera angle wouldn't let me see what your anchor point was. I'm trying to figure out where you're anchoring.
Oh yeah, I just saw somebody on YouTube. I'm not going to name any names, right? But they're like, oh, what you want is when you anchor, get to a hard point and you hold and you find like a tooth and it's bone on bone. I used to go like that, slap the side of my hand on the side of my face, slop like that, and stick it to the side of my face, right? Was I inconsistent? No, I was crazy consistent. That's actually what I was. I was crazy consistent. I could put wooden arrows side by side at distance, right? So that's why the biggest one I always say is this, right? Build your setup and build your form to the game you're playing.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a accuracy game. So aiming is one of the most important things. Can you aim with your setup?
Yeah.
Right. So if you've got a low anchor and you're down here like this, the arrow is so far away from your eye, it's very, very hard to aim.
Yeah.
So you've got to get that. So you'll see all the top shooters, most of them, not all of them, because some of them break the rules and do something else and win still, right? But a lot of them, they'll be right up here and the arrow will be sat just underneath their eye. Why?
That's what I'm trying to get with my setup to bring myself. So I first tried anchoring, seeing my hand behind the jaw, but it's awkward to see. So I'm trying to work it up, and I'm figuring now finger just bottom of my cheekbone, and then you see some of the guys and they're actually up here, side of the arm.
Yeah, so that because your fingers will hook down onto the string. What I would suggest, I always suggest to everybody who's starting out is like both my boys shoot like this, that they will well, the older boys, the little one, he shoots low, the 2-year-old, he shoots like more off the hip like this.
That's got to look real cool though.
Yeah, right. When you traditionally would like cup the jaw, thumb underneath the jaw, finger on top.
Yeah.
If you can do the same thing with the cheekbone.
Yeah.
Cup the cheekbone, thumb underneath, hand on top. And then what happens is your fingers then curl downwards anyway as they come over to grab the string, because the bow's generally going in that direction.
Yep.
So it pulls the fingers down away from your face. So I'd suggest give that a go. Give that a go. The higher you can get it.
Yeah.
And for NAFAS, you want to point on around 30 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah, 28 to 30 meters. I wouldn't push out any further than that. Because our game is played around the 30 meters.
I had wondered about using a fixed. I've got to go through the rules, of course. I think I'm going to be shooting traditional bow hunter, and I don't know if I've got to go through the rules, see if I can use a fixed crawl to bring that point on to where I want it. I can't.
No, you can't. No,
I've got to have finger against the knock.
That's it.
Oh, bugger.
Yeah.
Looks like heavy arrow time.
The only one you can do that in is they call it freestyle.
Freestyle, yeah.
Yeah, same place as all the true bare bows go. Yeah. What I call true bare bow. Yeah. For me, bare bow is string walking. It's crazy that in NAFAS that they don't have string walking. It makes no sense at all. It's like bare bow is string walking. That's bare bow.
There's been some big arguments on the NFAS Facebook page over it, hasn't there, as usual?
Yeah.
Why do you want to make NFAS the same as everything else? They don't want to make it the same as everything else. It's just folks that shoot multiple organisations that could do it with one bow and one setup instead of having to go out and buy 3 bows and have 3 setups.
Oh, tell me about it.
That's to me, that's common sense.
Yeah. So that's what I've done now. So I shot World Archery rules.
Yeah.
Archery GB World Archery.
Yeah.
Which allowed me to shoot in their rules. You can shoot an American flat bow, but they all call it longbows.
Yeah.
All right, but you can shoot a longbow 3 under, 3 fingers under, and your bow, the riser can be cut beyond center, so inside the bow.
Yeah.
So basically, you can have a center shot.
Yeah.
So that's what I shot for the first 2 years so that I'd have the most competitive setup for World Archery. As soon as I won this year, I'd already set my new goal, which would be to shoot a NAFAS legal bow
Yeah.
with split finger, which obviously then means I can't get the arrow so close to my eye.
Yeah.
With a bow which is only a D shape because there was allowed to be a little bit of a flex coming back on the limbs.
As long as
In
the
World
string
Archery.
didn't touch it when it
That's
was
it.
braced.
That's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's it. That's it. But now it has to be a continual D shape
Ooh.
in the limb. So they're less efficient limbs.
Yeah.
And obviously I've got to get around that riser,
Yeah.
which means now you can't do your stand up nice and clean
Yeah.
with your center shot. You've now got to get it's quite surprising how far now you've got to get your eye over. That's why so many of the guys who shoot American flatbow cant their bows.
Yes.
So they can get their eye over the bow. So I've spent the last 4.5 months experimenting with that. The second I got back,
Wow.
I retired the bow which I won with. I retired it. The last shot that bow took was when I took the gold medal.
Damn.
Literally took it down, got everyone to sign it. All the guys signed it. That went on the wall. Retired, and then I've started now with a new bow maker as well. I've gone over to Timber Point. Do you know Timber Point?
No. Can I just hit pause a sec? I'll need to
Yep.
back in just a sec. So a Timber Point, British, European, American?
Yeah, Timber Point started off in South Africa.
Yeah.
And now he's in Estonia making the bows. He's been there for a little while. In the world of longbows, American flatbows, probably seen as the most desired bow to have. For me, it's the best bow out there.
Yeah.
I really like his bows, but what plays a huge part for me is I really like him.
Yeah.
And he's prepared to work with me, and I'm like, I'm very interested in the whole build and how it happens and what you do here, and I've got my own ideas, which he's tolerated.
So, as you're an artist, does this mean we're going to see you start building bows then?
Do you know, I fancy maybe doing like a little carving on the side of a bow. And I think I definitely will make a bow at some point.
Yeah.
Definitely will make a bow at some point. I'd love to have a play around. Yeah. He's invited me out to his place, to have a look as well and see what he's doing. And yeah, I would love to do it. Yeah, why not?
I love the idea of making a bow, but it's just the patience. I really don't think I'd have the patience to do it. I'd end up. I mean, your day job, you're a sculptor, and God, you do some gorgeous work. The patience that must take, it really does blow my mind.
Yeah, yeah. Funny enough, I don't feel personally, I don't feel like there's patience involved. It's just hard to, you're trying to say something with the work.
Yeah.
And you're looking, trying to find that. It's you work your way through that, and it's a constant. It's a struggle. It's a struggle to try and get it to. It's a bit like shooting a bow. Some days it goes really well, and some days you'd have been better off staying at home. Yeah. But I'm
with your sculptures, you can see things, you can identify things. There's a lot of. I'm a bit of an old Philistine when it comes to art. I'm not a massive fan of what they're called. Is it contemporary art, modern art? Your Damien Hirst stuff, your unmade beds. And that's what you see in the mainstream media, and you tend to think that's all that's out there. Place I was working, we had a guy came in, he was an artist, and I bought one of his prints. It's not a million miles off photorealism, the painting he does. And he was showing me his work online, and there was a gorgeous one he'd got just of a coastline. And he said, I just sold that one for 1,500 quid. I said, I love your work, but I couldn't afford that. He said, well, I'll do prints for 40 quid. He said, but I'll do you one as mate rate to 20 quid. I said, tell you what, I'll have the print, but I'm not paying 20 quid. I'm paying 40 quid. And he said, why? I said, because if I have that off you for 20 quid, I've just devalued your work. I want that because I can't do that. You can do something I can't. That gives it value to me. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
the more
yeah.
you look, the more you see there are really talented artists. I'm not a fan of three shopping trolleys welded together in the middle of a pond. You know, walk down the canal and see that three shopping trolleys in there, or, you know, what was it, that one? 12 furnace bricks laid in a line on the floor. I'm thinking a
Yeah.
5-year-old can
The,
do that. But when you look
yeah,
at stuff like David did and stuff you do, there is, you think, wow, I could never do that. That is just, it looks amazing.
thank you. I really appreciate that. No, I agree. I couldn't agree any more about the modern art and so on. It's just not real, is it? Let's be honest.
No, I
It's
mean,
just not real.
I keep saying these artists.
Empress clothing. It's
Yeah,
Empress clothing. I was at so I go over for haven't gone over this year. We've gone over for before that the 3 years in a row over to Art Miami.
yeah.
So I show at the exhibition Art Miami, and Art Miami is like the largest art fair in the world by a long way.
Oh
Like
wow.
we don't like one of the halls there. We don't we don't have one art fair in this country as big as just one of their halls, and they have 8 of them.
Damn.
It's just so large, and Miami comes to a standstill when that's on. It's just a monster show, and they had that banana, didn't they? Taped to the wall. I'm like, please, honestly, it's just Emperor's clothing, you know.
As
I'm like,
somebody,
and it just doesn't. It's just absolute nonsense on top of nonsense. You think to yourself, all right, stop it. It's fucking stupid. It's stupid. So just stop it. And then they sell it for crazy amounts of money, millions.
yeah,
Mad, isn't
I
it?
I sometimes wonder, do some of these contemporary artists sit round before like the Tate Award, and I sit down, it's like, right, guys, we're going to see who can create the biggest steaming pile of shit and who we can convince this is art. And I think some people are so desperate to appear cultured that you could literally take a shit on the dinner plate, tell them it was art, and they'd pay you £1 million for it. Does
Yeah.
this frustrate? It's got to frustrate. I mean, I say, I'm going to put your Instagram link in the show notes so people can have a look at this stuff you do. When you look at that, it's got, if if I was in your shoes, I'd be throwing everything I could at these folks that do this shit.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think,
To be honest, I, other than like if it comes up in a conversation like this, I just don't give it any thought. It's not something which is on my radar.
yeah,
You know, even at the big shows, you know, like that stuff's there. I didn't even go to that hall where the banana was. You know, I just won't. I just what for? Yeah, it's like, honestly, what
yeah.
for? It doesn't even. Yeah, it's just nothingness. It's literally nothingness for me. So no, it doesn't frustrate me. I'm just um I'm just completely all in on my own work.
Yeah,
I'm just creating my own work. I want to say something through the work. You know, I'm trying to express something
yeah.
through the human form. That takes everything I've got. Um, you know, and then any spare, you know, and then I have a young family, and then any spare moment I've got, I'm shooting a bow. That's it. You know, I'm like, I don't go to like lots of friends are like, did you go to the so and so show? You going to the RA? I'm like, no, I don't go to any of it. I don't go to any art shows at all. And people are like, really? Why don't you go? I'm saying, because this is boring as shit. That's why I want to shoot a bow. I want
It's
to be
my
down the
job. I do it
woods.
all day.
That's right, exactly. You know, I live art. I've never done anything else either. You know, you know, from my career point of view, I've been a sculptor since I was 16 years old. I don't know anything else. I'm like a fish who's in water, and you're asking about water. I'm like, what water? What water? What are you talking about? Art. I don't know anything else. I've never done anything else, since my brain formed with art, right?
Yeah.
So it's a strange thing for me. Yeah. So
how did you get? I'm going to ask, how did you become a sculptor? Was it just? And obviously, it's something that's always been there with you.
yeah. So
I mean, it's one of those things. It seems it's.
the first time it was very clear was when I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
Primary school, and we'd do maths and English in the morning, and then it was like arts and crafts, making things in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I'm severely dyslexic. Can't do maths, and not particularly bright. So the morning didn't go very well.
You ever wondered
So
why dyslexia is such a hard word to spell?
that's right. Yeah, they turned us over, didn't they? Either that or the dyslexians made the bloody word up. So I fell in. What would happen is I fell in love with the state of mind whilst making.
Yeah.
And what it was, just like shooting the bow, just like building camps when I was a kid, right? Just like my artwork, just go into that little quiet place where it's just me and the making.
Yeah.
I just love it. It was like my happy place. It's my place of peace. And so then I went through school, no qualifications whatsoever. When I left school, I could literally only write my name.
Yeah.
If I wasn't under pressure. But when you're 16 years old and you know that sometimes you can write your name and sometimes you can't, whenever you're asked to write your name, you're under pressure. Right?
That's got to be scary as hell.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then, and okay, my first name's Ian. That's 3 letters in there, right?
Yeah.
I got a good chance. I got a good guess on that one, right? I got a good guess. And 9 times out of 10, I'll even guess that one right? But Edwards, nah, it's just not happening, is it?
Yeah.
It's just not happening. That's beyond me. That's completely beyond me. But yeah, so I just hankered to try and find that place of the peace. And then when I left school, Dad had a haulage business, had some lorries, and they said, well, you can't read or write, so you're obviously going to drive a lorry, right? And that will dig holes. Which one do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I think I'll do the lorries. And I did that for a week. And I remember sat there because literally I finished school on the Friday. Dad had me in work on the Monday.
Yeah.
To give you an idea, Dad came out of the East End of London, right? So he's your proper Cockney, worked on the barrels from young, came from a very large family, old school. Yeah. So finished school on the Friday, let me have the weekend off, right? Started on the Monday. End of that week, I sat down with Mum and I think I cried. I just said to Mum, I can't do this. This is I hate this. This just can't be my life, surely. And Mum said to me, what do you want to do? You fine. Don't worry, you don't have to work with Dad. What do you want to do? I was like, do you remember when I was little? When I was younger, I was only 16 at this point. I used to shave sticks into points. I was obviously making arrows, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Like we all did with hazel sticks. And she went, yeah. And she went, but that's not a job, love. That's not a job. what are you talking about? And I went, yeah, but it's like that. And she went, yeah, but no one's going to pay you to shave sticks. What are you thinking? I said, working with my hands, working with wood. And she went, okay. Back then, Yellow Pages. And she rung up the local joinery company. And they said, oh, you could tell him to come down here if he's a, keen worker, come and build doors in the factory, basically.
Yeah.
I went, no, it's not that, Mum. It's not that. I want to work with my hands. I don't want to work machines. Mum's like, I don't think there is a job like that. And then she rang one more place and fate would have it. They turned around and said, do you know what? A company's just moved down from London in the village next door to you, which was like cycling distance.
Yeah.
From our house, which are wood carving. It's a wood carving shop. And it's all ornamental, but I didn't know what this was at the time, but it's all ornamental wood carving. Try them. So we rang them, went down there. I don't lie. When I walked in and I looked around, I saw all these wood carvings. It was like I'd gone home. I found my people. It's a strange thing. Because don't forget, this is a boy at this point who couldn't read or write. You know, can you imagine? I left. I had the reading age of a 6-year-old,
Yeah.
and I could only write my own name. And at this point, there was no YouTube, so there's no way of educating myself
Yeah.
other than what they told me at school. So I was incredibly uneducated. And my mum and dad, bless them, lovely people, weren't amazingly educated themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Because they had also, just done what everybody else does. They'd done their jobs. Yeah. That was that. So I went into this workshop, but I just felt the atmosphere, the whole thing. And I walked out there. I said, Mom, I'll do anything. I just want to do that. So they said, okay, we'll take him on for a couple of months to see if we want to, give him basically like an apprenticeship. And, I just did anything I could.
Yeah.
Effort wasn't an issue for me. I was like, fucking right. Okay, what time do you want me to turn up? And I'd get in there early, clean all the sink area down, clean the bins out, get the fire ready if it, because I think it was winter times, October sort of time. I'd done anything, swept all the floors. I didn't care, just to be in there. Anything, right? Because I didn't even know this sort of thing existed. This was like fancy land for me. You could be making things with your hands. And then they said, yeah, definitely, we'll keep him. The guy's like fucking super keen. And they said, oh, his hours will be 9 till 5. And I said, no problem. I'll work from 8 till 6.
Yeah.
Can I come in 7 days a week? And they're like, no, you can come in 6 days a week. I went, all right, 6 days a week. Right, fine, it's a deal. They said, but we're only training you. You only got your apprenticeship till Friday. No, that's right. I'll do my own stuff on Saturday. Is that right?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, fine. And I did that, and I stayed there. And then literally when I finished what they class as my training, I left. But what happened? There was like another one of those moments, like I said, when I was in primary school.
Yeah.
I was going along. I'm doing all the wood carving, and I'm absolutely loving it. I've learned how to carve. I have a natural ability with my hand-eye coordination to carve and to create things, and just a work ethic like through the roof. And one day, there was 2 bosses, very strict, old school, again, from London. And they had a son. The oldest boss had a son who was about a year or 2 years older than me. But anyway, we were like the same age, basically.
Yeah.
And they had a book, and they opened this book up, and he's asking his dad about it. And they're looking through the pages. And I look over his shoulder, and I'm just mesmerized. And I'm almost come to tears through looking at pictures of sculptures. And what I was looking at was Rodin. And it was the kiss. It was the thinker. And I just looked at it, and I almost couldn't speak, and just said, who is this? What is this? And he went, this is Rodin. Like, fuck, everyone knows who Rodin is, right? And I'm like, oh my God. And I said to him, almost like, that's what I was put on this planet for.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here to do.
That was your epiphany.
Oh, shit. And then from then onwards, that was it. Because I said to them, because they assumed I was going to stay, because we built a great relationship, and they're really happy with what I was doing. And I said, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to set up my own studio. That was mum and dad had a little lean-to, and I just put doors on it, put a roof on it, and that was my sanctuary. That's where I started my work, and I just built it out from there. And I started creating sculptures, and taught myself how to pour bronzes, built my own little foundry. And then started creating bronzes, and started to learn about the art market, galleries, and really just self-educated. And then once the wheels started turning, just built on that. And it was just super amazing, so grateful. I can't tell you how grateful I am to have had the opportunity to dedicate my life to my craft.
Yeah.
Huge. Fucking huge. Makes me feel emotional even saying it now. Just
that
huge.
is. That is like, how'd you beat that?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, right? Because it was
Yeah.
obviously who I was, right?
But even more
Um,
so coming from like a traditional blue collar working family rather than having an
yeah.
artistic background. And you think,
Yeah. Yeah.
bloody hell, that's, yeah, what a hell of a story that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
amazing.
Because that's right. No, it's amazing. Like, it's so funny. And then later on, like, I'd, have a studio um, and doing my figurative work. I'd work for
Yeah.
models, and like Dad would be like to Mum, "Oh my God, he's got another naked woman in there." Like, to Dad, that's what he saw. It was so funny.
Yep.
Um, yeah, no, so it's been, yeah, it's been amazing. I love what I do, right? Absolutely love what I do, and I love every aspect of it. There's nothing I don't like about it.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to the bow, because with the bow, I just love the fact that bow finds you out. Do you know what I mean? You gotta
Yeah.
be. It just shows up. If
Yeah.
you're a little bit off, you're not prepared to, you know, be quiet with the bow and feel it and get into the shots,
Yeah.
and you're just too like, it will show up in your shots. It will show up, and I shoot. I was saying to you earlier on, like in monk mode.
Yeah.
Train on my own at home. I shoot 95% of the time on my own,
Yeah.
just at home, just running through my shots, always adjusting, tweaking little bits, feeling the shots, working on different areas. I just love this, the dedication to it,
Yeah.
and that quiet dedication to the work I love. Um, and then it has that other amazing aspect that the courses are in the woods, and I love nature. Um,
Oh yeah.
and then going from that to down the club, ripping it out of your buddies, being completely inappropriate, um, saying outrageous stuff with no filter. That's just so much fun. And it couldn't be further away from, because I write poetry as well,
Yeah.
couldn't be further away from this expression of my soul through my artwork
Yeah.
to down the club, rah, 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 talking absolute, you know,
Oh,
let's hope nobody ever records it, because it would just come across so bad, right? Because that's just not who I am. But you're just having a laugh, having fun with your mates.
oh, you've got to rip it out of each other. Say
Yeah,
it is that release from everything else, isn't it? When with your mates in the woods, you don't have to mind your P's and Q's. You haven't got to be politically correct. You can just be
yeah,
yourselves.
yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I mean, a lot when I first started doing these podcasts. Now I've found my voice a bit, and people know I will get sweary. I will say things that aren't that can be controversial at times, but I don't give a shit. Life's too short to stress about stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, absolutely.
if I want to say fuck dig bollocks wank, I'll say fuck dig bollocks wank. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
No, absolutely.
yeah. While I think about it, while I say dick, how you how you work your gaps out. This was told to me, and I didn't believe it, and asked you where, and apparently it is.
Yeah,
How do you tell
yeah,
people you judge your gaps?
yeah. So often everyone's like, because everyone's a gap shooter, right? If you're shooting trad and so on, so everyone's always on about, oh, what's your gap? What's your gap? What is it? And I always say to them, it's basically about that long. It's about 9 inches. Same, go on the length of my penis. That's what it is, right? And when I say that, it always gets a laugh. Always gets a laugh. That's a good one. Yeah. How do you know what your gap
Shit me,
is?
I'd need to be shooting 500 feet per second to get the gap for the length of my penis.
Yeah.
I always said there's nothing wrong with a 4-inch penis. Some ladies white like it that wide.
Yeah.
I've got to ask, because when I was watching stuff like The Push, they reckon the longer your arrow, the shorter your gap, the smaller your gap. So the way you do it, running an arrow as short as possible, it
Yeah.
kind of goes against that. But then again,
Yeah.
is that, do you run the same for NFAS as you do for World Archery? Because like I said, you're only going out to 30 metres at World Archery, where we've all been on NFAS courses where there's suddenly an 80-yard target.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, what the push is talking about is that with a longer arrow, it gives you a smaller gap. So it makes it easier if you have a lower anchor
Yeah.
to be able to aim off your point.
Yeah.
Um, so, but the problem is for me, because I'm shooting a wooden arrow,
Yeah.
I have to bear in mind is that the wooden arrow longer doesn't correct very well. So the longer the
Right.
wooden arrow gets, um, it flies worse, where a carbon arrow doesn't, because it is carbon, it's consistent
Yeah.
all the way through. So I don't have that advantage. So all I've done is I've just raised the arrow further and further up my eye.
Yeah.
So I've just anchored even higher to compensate for having a short arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what they're saying is that is correct, but that doesn't work well with a wooden arrow. But I know that some who anchor lower try to get a little bit longer wooden arrow, but then they suffer, but the arrow doesn't fly as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would always advise if you're going to shoot a carbon, keep it full length.
Yeah.
It gives you a much easier aiming point. It really does. Yeah, so for me, it just the problem is with a high anchor.
Yeah.
Is the mechanics start getting harder because
Yeah.
then you're no longer, the lower you are, the more you can use more of your stronger back muscles
Yeah.
and stronger parts of your shoulder. And as you get up higher, you get into a weaker position. So it's harder to control the bow. But, horses for courses, you just got to try and get. So now I've made it even worse for myself going with split finger. So now I'm right at the top, but still my arrow is low because it's split between the fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you watch Aaron Snyder, I mean, he cants quite heavily anyway, but I was watching him doing some bear shafting. He said, bow vertical to bear shaft, don't cant it. Obviously, he's using carbons, but even when he's vertical, he drops his head over a hell of an angle to get over the top of the arrow, doesn't he?
He does, yeah, he does. But that's only to get over the arrow to see down through it, so he gets a good line. He has a long point on.
Yeah.
Hence why he's famous for taking those long shots. That's why I built my hunting setup similar to his, the longer shots, which is great if that's what you're shooting, longer shots. But if you want to shoot NAFAS well, as you know, they go down to 10 meters.
Yeah.
Well, then you've got a massive gap, 10 meters, and you've got a 40 point on. You'd be like a meter below the bloody thing. Makes it really, really hard to hit the point.
Our open
Can be done.
Our open shooter Paget last year, the shortest for non-sighted bows was 3 yards. We had a 3-yard target. And for sighted bows, it was 1.5 yards. And the number of compounders that never practice anything that close, so they got up to it and it's like, holy shit, where the hell are we supposed to aim here?
Yeah. I hope they had a good backstop as they blasted into that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got 2 bosses, one behind the other, just to make sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah. A few hits in the center, and all of a sudden you're just blowing straight through it.
Yeah, what we were doing between groups, we'd just move the target face round on the boss, so we weren't just pummeling one spot.
Yeah, good idea.
I've got so much to learn with this trad stuff, though. I thought it was going to be simpler than compound.
In what way? Simpler in what way?
I got this romanticized view of it's just a stick and a string. It's
Oh yeah,
anything but just a stick and a string.
yeah, yeah,
And when you look at arrow tuning, you watch experts and they make it sound so simple. But what they're not telling you is when they're arrow tuning, they've been doing it that long. They've got a perfect clean release. When you brand new at it like I am off the fingers, it's working that I'm not. I'm used to holding on Makuma. I think I hold about 17, 18 pounds back. On the prime, I'm holding just over £12 back. To suddenly be holding £45 back, it's a big, it's a hell of a jump. So all I've been doing at
yeah.
the moment is draw and hold drills. Just draw
Okay,
it, hold it, let it down,
build the
draw it,
strength.
hold it, yeah. And while I'm doing that, I'm just playing around. Let's say trying to find what's a really comfortable, repeatable anchor for me that gets the arrow as close to my eye as I can. Obviously not
Yeah,
King Harold close.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think, yeah, I think that's perfect. I'm very similar to you at the moment, because I'm shooting now split finger. I'm going across. I'm finding a new anchor, trying to find that anchor consistently. So I'm doing a lot of short shots, just feeling it, trying to get there. At the moment, I've just changed again. I'm changing a lot. Like I said, I'm in
Yeah,
experimental stage at the moment, but I changed again on Monday, quite how I'm holding the string. So I'm now building up the strength in this bottom finger more because I'm putting more weight on that bottom finger. Um, but I love all that.
yeah,
Even the fact that, you know, that finger's being developed. I don't know. I
yes.
don't find that like why I like little stuff like that. I'm like, in
there
a
are
minute, that
there are
finger.
way too many jokes about that.
Yeah.
You have to get a shooting glove with pink and brown. Imagine walking on the world course with that. Here,
Yeah,
why have you
that's
got
right.
a glove like that? What does that mean?
Yeah. I've never, funny enough, I never shot with a glove. I've never
I've
shot with a glove.
I've just got a tab from Dirty Gnome Leather, guy named Paul Chittenden.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I'm going to get a tab and an arm guard from him.
Yeah.
We've been
Oh,
chatting backwards and forwards.
tab's
And
lovely. It's
is
lovely.
it? Yeah. I just want to get, so I get my new bow Monday, Tuesday next week.
Yeah.
So I just said to him, look, we'll wait for that to come in, and as soon as it comes in, I'll take a nice photograph of it and then send you it over. Then we're going to try and match the colors of that, like a marbling effect on the arm guard.
Oh,
Um,
I've seen some of the posts. That marbling looks lovely.
yeah, yeah, and I think if it's because the ride's like a dark walnut,
Yeah.
um, so I'm thinking, yeah, that would look nice. First time I've ever done anything like that. Like up until now, um, just picked up any arm guard. But
Yeah.
like this time around, I'm like, do you know what? Actually, I'll have like a little matching kit. Why not? Everybody else does it.
Oh,
I've never
yeah.
done it. I've just like,
Pimp my gear.
yeah, I think half of the stuff I just picked up as I've gone along. I've been second hand. I've just borrowed it from someone and forgotten to give it back to them. Um, yeah, tab wise, I'm a little bit fussy with my tab. Um, I use a tab, the one which begins with
I
something. LB, is it? VLB?
Oh, I don't know a
Um,
lot about tabs.
European guy. Anyway, I run that tab, but now I'm shooting split finger. I run a fair weather ring to hold myself in the right place.
Fairweather. I know the name.
Yeah, yeah. So I use the fair weather um and I bolt the fair weather to my leather tab
Yeah.
straight through it. Here it is. Look,
All right.
so see the fair weather's on the back.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing it. So I'm like this. I've completely it's tight. What you do is
Yeah.
Fairweather have different size rings.
Yeah.
There you go. And I've cut all this back so that what protrudes at the top is my finger.
Yeah.
because I want my finger to touch my face. So I can then feel it then, and there's no lever in between me. That's why it's just that little bit. It's the most awful looking tab, if you can
Yeah.
see. It looks like it's awful, right? But it's bloody love it. It's Paul's going to sort me out a nice one, and we're going to use that as a template and then go again.
Well, mine's in my riser bag, the opposite end of the table. But I saw him on Instagram, and I was talking to him. Of course, I'd always, if ever I'd had a play with a trad bow or a longbow, I'd always done it with a glove, and I was comfortable with a glove. But everyone said you'll get better accuracy out of a tab. So I thought, right, if I'm going to do this, I'll do it properly. And the information about tabs he gave me was amazing. I didn't know what size I'd need, so I literally took photos of my hand with a tape measure all over it, so he could see the size of my fingers. And he said, if it's too big, you'll find as the shot breaks, you're just getting your tabs slapping the shit out of your face. So sent him all these photos. He said, "Yep, I think you're going to need a medium." Made me a medium, sent it up, and I'm absolutely over the moon with it. It looks gorgeous.
Nice, nice. I
Oh,
saw a picture of it.
yeah.
Saw a picture of it. Yeah, looks
I'm
lovely.
going to,
Yeah,
next couple of weeks, I'm going to order a second one off him because I was told always need 2 tabs, shoot 2 in because your tab becomes part of you.
that's it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
No,
that's,
no, it's absolutely right. And I think he makes, from what I've seen, he makes really nice stuff. Yeah, so I'm going down the same road. Going to follow you. Yeah,
if, if,
definitely.
if I wasn't using Yuccalims with those tiny little knocks on the end, I really like the look of those little leather dragon's heads he does to put. I'm thinking, oh man, that would just look so cool on the end of me bow. That would.
Yeah, yeah, the string savers. Yeah,
I
yeah,
can see at some point I am going to have to order one of those just so I've got one.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
found
yeah.
with the aluminium riser, I'm now kind of craving a wooden ILF riser. There's some such gorgeous looking risers out there. I
Oh
mean,
God, yeah, yeah.
you can pick up a wooden ILF riser now for one of the mass produced ones for not much more than 100 quid. But I'd looked at
Yeah, and also
the,
as well, there's a good secondhand market around as well. Like if you once you start chatting,
yeah,
so many people will just buy stuff. My timber point, it's a
yeah,
beautiful bow. Got it secondhand. You know, the one which I'm shooting at the moment. That's how I went over to timber point. Tried out that secondhand one, and then reached out to the owner, and
yeah,
yeah, going to be get my new one on Tuesday. But yeah, I just think secondhand because it's not like a compound in the sense like a compound there's bits to wear out.
yes,
There's nothing really to wear out on a wooden riser. In
no,
fact, they look cooler the older they get.
yes,
They've got some feel about them.
yeah,
Yeah,
that patina.
yeah, patina. Yeah, exactly. I think I would. Yeah, I think secondhand is the way I'd go.
I might have to have a look. I might have to have a look.
Yeah,
I know
and
there is.
also as well, if you like mention it on here enough, secondhand wooden risers, sooner or later one's got to turn up, surely.
There's one of the mass produced ones I've seen that I really like the look of. The white feather woodpecker.
Oh yeah,
Looks
yeah.
gorgeous. And now they're, is it Oak Ridge? I think they're JVD's in-house brand, aren't they? They've released the Shade V2 and they've got one identical to the white feather woodpecker, but 30 quid cheaper. At the end of the day, 30 quid's 30 quid.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And they'll shoot the same, no doubt. No, I would. Yeah, I shot. I haven't been shooting that long, have I? So I shot first of all with the metal riser which we got from Quicks,
Yeah.
which was just a cheap barebow metal riser. Can't remember what we paid for it. It was like next to nothing.
Yeah. It'd be one of
Shot
those
that.
fours, isn't it? That's like 60 quid for the whole bow.
This one was 90 quid for the whole bow. Yeah, that's what we had. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was one of those.
Yeah.
And then we just put car body filler on the flat bit because it's bare bow.
Yeah.
Just put guard body filler on there, create a nice little hump.
Oh, just radius of shelf.
Yeah. Then just a bit of a side. That bow shot perfectly well enough. The truth is, that bow absolutely shot like a dream. It really did. I think I've probably not had a bow which has shot any better than that bow. That's the honest truth. Honestly, that bow shot perfectly. I created my own handle with it out of all car body filler because I have it in the studio. So I just shaped that all up as well. We sprayed it. We put because we'd watch the push, you know. So we sprayed it and put some nighttime camo on it, you know. Boys loved it. And then I got that Satori, which I camoed that out with QU. I got some stencils and sprayed QU sort of design on it. Messed around again. But that bow got stolen. Only time we've ever been broken into. We were renting whilst we were looking for this place. So we were up Twickenham, Richmond area.
Yeah.
And just rented this nice place. And we had like a little garden studio, real small, but it was just something which I could work in whilst trying to find a place to buy because we'd sold our place in Devon by then.
Yeah.
And unknown to us, about every 3 months, all the sheds and everything got done along the back. And then one night, I'd left my bow in there.
Oh, no.
And I came out in the morning. Do you know what the funny thing was? Classic. Didn't notice it had even gone until lunchtime when I was going to shoot the bow.
Yeah.
I turned around to look to see where it was on the wall. And I went inside, couldn't find it. And then, do you know what I did? I was like, my oldest son, Finn, I went, Finn, where you put the bow, man? I told you not to touch Dad's bow.
Yeah.
And if you do, put it back. Because the boys, they just take everything of mine, right? Literally. And I'm like, you know you're not meant to touch that bow, right? I haven't touched it. Then fucking lie to me. I know you've touched the bow. Where have you put it, right? Honestly, this is how it went back. And he went, Dad, I haven't touched your bow. I went, all right, I'll find it. I'll find it. And then in the end, I just we couldn't work it out. And then it dawned on me as I looked around and I saw then the cordless drill had gone and a few other bits and pieces. And then I was like, oh, no. Weird feeling. First time ever been broken into.
Yeah.
And they stole a £50 left-handed recurve. Honestly, what was that worth? Nothing. To me, it was worth everything.
Yeah.
So that was the end of that bow. And then after that, I went back to that metal riser again. That cheap bear bow, and just shot that then for the rest of the season whilst I set myself up then to get the longbow from Roger. Yeah. And I also, the weird thing as well, I'd even made a point as well. I was never going to sell that bow because it was my first true hunting bow.
Yeah. It's like my Stinger X. I said I'll never sell that. My first real compound. I mean, I've got my old Barnet that I had years ago, but the Stinger took me so far and taught me so much. But one of the guys I shoot with, actually, I don't know what brand his was. He had a custom recurve made in South Africa, and he got stolen out of his van. And he was fortunate enough to get it back. It turned up 3 months later in the local second-hand shop. He walked in, saw it. Where'd you get my bow from? We didn't make that. He said, that's a stolen bow. I said, no, it's not. He said, that is my bow. I said, they all look the same, prove it. And as the bow you was making it, he kept sending him photographs all the way through the build process. And he lays down all these photos, and the bloke started getting a bit arse. He said, right, I'm calling the police now. And suddenly the bloke changed his tune. Oh, there you go, mate. Just take it, and I hope you enjoy it. There are some scummy pieces of shit in this world.
Excuse me. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because that bow was worth nothing to anybody else, really. Not really. Left-handed, bloody £50 bow. You know? But to me, it meant everything.
Yeah.
You know. There you go. There you go. That's life. We move
Oh,
on.
isn't it just? Yeah, like I say, nah, I'm doing it. Oh, I know. You shoot with Maddie, don't you? Maddie Hammond.
Yeah,
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 I
yeah,
sound.
yeah.
She's company is 60 as well, isn't she?
No, she's
Is it? No,
cloth of gold.
Cloth of Gold. I knew you got to see it, and I knew it was somewhere similar neck of the woods, aren't they? All down home counties.
You froze.
Oh, have I? Hang on.
There you
Am
go.
I?
You're back now. Yep.
Ah,
Sorry, you're back. Yep.
it's all right. I
Might have
set
been
it
my
because
end.
I got literally got the router 3 feet behind me. That's why when I'm on a Zoom call, I bring everything downstairs. I knew Maddie's
Yeah.
club began with a C, and it was somewhere down in the home counties way.
Yeah. No, no. She's pretty sure her home club is of cloth of gold, but
Yeah,
we do a lot of the same shoots. A
yeah.
lot of the same shoots. And we shot together at Company of 60 on our Christmas, I don't know, Christmas get together shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, when you talk like the growing up and all the things you were doing and being out, that's almost like what Maddie's doing now, isn't it? She is rewilding.
That's right. Yeah. 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 I think I think it's so healthy, right? The
It
more you
is.
can get out, the more you can be um, in nature.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because we are nature. At the end of the day, we are nature. I think
Uh,
it's
Marketing men have convinced us we're not. Marketing men and governments have convinced us we're not nature. We control nature. And no, we're not. And no, we don't control nature. And every now and again, Mother Nature just kicks us in the arse just to remind us I'm the
I
one
love
in
that.
charge here.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love a great storm or yeah.
I've got to admit,
To remind you, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
You're like, I love that. Yeah, when the extremities come in. Um,
I like a
yeah.
good storm if I'm under shelter and I'm not getting soaked to the skin.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Like I'm a
yeah,
bit of a fair weather archer. I mean, I don't like the cold weather anyway. I look the hotter it is, I'm happy. When summer 2022 when it was in the 40s, I was in my absolute freaking element. Then I can't stand the
yeah,
cold. But picking up the single stringer, it's last 2 weekends. My hands have been. I've looked like I've got zombie fingers. They've gone purple, then white. I've lost all sensation in them, and I've still been shooting the single stringer just to get arrows through it. Week before last, I'd still undecided on what spine to get. So one of the lads at the club lent me some 32-inch Ted Nugent 400 spines. I mean, they were flying atrociously, but it was just letting me get arrows in the air again. And
yeah,
I love shooting the compound, but I'd said before the spark, there wasn't the spark there. There wasn't the absolute excitement. If I'm going to shoot me bow, I'm going to shoot me bow. There wasn't like kid at Christmas sensation. And picking up a single stringer has just sparked that again.
yeah,
I
yeah. For
can't
me,
wait
I
to get
just,
down to the club in the
I
morning to shoot.
yeah, for me, I just absolutely love that. You know, it's just I shoot nearly every day.
Yeah,
I mean, like, so I don't let myself shoot until the afternoon.
yeah,
I just you know, I'm a disciplined man.
yes. You've
I
got to be
just want to
looking for
shoot.
yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, you have got to be, but I'm joking when I say that. It's like what I do is I'm like I just love it that what it is. I've got that to look forward to.
Yeah,
I normally shoot around about 2 o'clock.
yeah.
So I just hold myself back, and then I'm like, right, okay, go on then, go on. And then where it requires the true discipline though is how long I allow myself to shoot for.
Ah,
Yeah, because I'll shoot till 5.
yeah,
So it's meant to be. What I do is I don't stop for lunch, so I
yeah,
say that's my lunch break.
yeah.
Um, you know, and 45 minutes, I give myself a lunch. Maybe
Yeah.
that's fair enough. You know, we only live
Oh.
once, right? So I let myself shoot for 45 minutes. But the truth is, I struggle to come back in after those 45 minutes. As I walk back, I normally have 1 or 2 shots as I walk away, and then go and grab the arrows and come back. Even now, I don't seem to ever sicken of it. It's funny, isn't it? But I think what it is because it's never answered.
Yeah.
It's never done. It's always
You,
like nearly.
you
I'm
can
like the
always
whole
do
time I'm
that
out
a
there.
bit better.
Yeah, yeah, and then I go, oh, that looks quite good. Okay, see if you can do that a little bit further back or a little bit closer. Or
Yeah.
so tonight I shot in the studio. I got 12 meters across in
Yeah.
the studio. If I shoot across, and what I shoot is I just buy off of Amazon the 6-inch paper plates, small ones,
Yeah.
this sort of size. Buy 100 of those for I don't know, like £2,
Yeah.
and I just pin those on, and I just hammer that, and I just move it round my boss so I don't
Yeah.
just blow an area out. And I'm shooting, feeling it, shooting, and I'm like, it's pouring with rain outside, and I go, and I didn't shoot today. I didn't shoot till later.
Yeah.
And I went, well, wife will be back soon with a little man from nursery. I know it's pouring with rain. I'm not shooting tomorrow morning, so it doesn't matter. All my feathers are all wet. I just go outside in the rain and shoot.
Yeah.
That's how addicted I am to this. Because what it was like those arrows are flying really nice. Have I got it that good? Have I managed to master this new split finger thing? I need to go outside. And the first 2 shots, I'm like, no. Really?
Corkscrew.
And then I go close. Then I go
target.
close. And I go close. And I'm like, boom, boom. And I'm like, okay, go back. Oh, that one's not too bad. And then before I know what's happened, I'm absolutely soaked.
Yeah.
I'm cold because I've walked out there with a bloody t-shirt on, right? I'm like, because I was shooting inside. Yeah, it's mad, absolutely mad. How like my wife said to me, "Oh, this is how bad it is, right? We've already prearranged Sunday. I can go to the club Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Right? It's crappy weather coming in the afternoon, so we'll go Sunday morning. So I will be there before light, right?
Yeah.
So as it gets light, I'll already be warmed up and shooting.
Arrows away.
Oh, yeah.
It's
And all my
always that-
mates will be like, they'll like turn up like at a sensible time, just a little bit after it's just got light.
Yeah.
But I would have already been there. And then she said to me, oh, I got to pop out in the morning. I'm going to do some jobs because in the afternoon she's out until early evening. So I got the little man basically whole afternoon. She went, yeah, so I'm going to take him with me to give you a break. So if you need to get any jobs done, and I'm already calculating, is that enough time for me to get to the bow club and back? Well, I know I've got jobs I should be doing Saturday morning, but I can squeeze them in the evenings at another time. Yeah, I just love it. I just love that feeling. And it's to trying to master it.
Yeah.
Just trying to get them to
We're
go
trying
right.
to get better than the end you did previously. And it's, I'll just shoot one more end. I'll just shoot one more end. And all of a sudden, you're 2.5 hours in.
Oh, easy.
When I had my Stinger X and I bought a Boss and put it in the garden,
yeah,
I'd say to the wife, I'm just going to have a quick half hour in the garden. And it'd be, all right, then, I'll see you this afternoon. And I'd be out there for hours, just 6 arrow ends, 6 arrow ends, 6 arrow ends.
Yep.
And, oh, yeah, it's, and I used to go down to the club I'm a member of. You can go down on a Wednesday and a Saturday. And in the winter on Wednesday night, Paget in Walsall, Paget Divisi, Aldridge, just outside Walsall.
Okay. Don't know the club. Yeah.
On a Wednesday night in the winter, I'd often be the only one there, and it was freezing. If I was the only one there, just chuck a Boss at 5 yards in the clubhouse, and I'd spend 3 or 4 hours just blank bailing, just trying to
Oh
master
yeah.
that shot. And the timer goes so quick, I think, oh, I'll have a cup of coffee now. How long have I been here? Shit, I've been here 3 hours. It feels like half an hour. The time just goes into fast forward.
Great, isn't it?
Oh, it's
Great.
fantastic. And I'm finding that kind of spark again going to a single string. I
Yeah.
think
Oh
I
yeah,
needed it.
and I think you'll find that spark. But I personally, because it's more of the hand-eye cord, even more, your fingers are on it.
Yeah,
It, I don't know. It
I've
just
I've got to
it
try and
asks
master
more
that.
of you.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
I
it asks
haven't got
more
that
of you.
natural hand-eye coordination when it comes to throwing a ball. If I throw a ball to somebody 20 yards in front of me, it's as likely to end up 10 yards behind me as it is with them, which is why I've got to gap shoot. I've got to be an aimer.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the only way I'm going to do it.
No, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
See,
And that's why I kind of sent you that message as well to like savor and enjoy being the beginner
yeah,
because everyone's in such a rush, and probably not you because you've already done it once with a compound, but everyone's in such a rush to become the next stage
yeah.
that they forget that precious ground of being a beginner is so short.
Oh, yeah.
It really is so short, but it's such a wonderful time because it's all so new.
There's so much to
Um,
learn and explore.
yeah, yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. Do you ever watch Lancaster?
Oh, I've ever since they started putting barebow on the stage. Don't get me wrong, I love the intensity of the compound, and when they
Yeah.
started putting the 12 dot on,
Yeah.
in that first year Bodie won it, I got the wife was doing her nut. Of course, I'd got it on in the living room, and she's got no interest in archery whatsoever.
No, no, no.
And
Yeah.
I'm bouncing up and down, shouting for bloody Bodie to win it. And
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it was literally grip the edge of your seat tense, that was. But ever since Bearbow went on the stage, Compound's got that like real intensity about it. Bearbow is like it's an archery party.
Yeah.
It just looks so much fun. And you look at the
Yeah.
age of some of the guys, they're in their 70s. You
Oh,
think
yeah.
this single string shit's got something about it. It really has. It's keeping these guys are, you, how many folks at 70 are still performing at that level, doing what they do? It keeps you
Yeah.
young, doesn't it?
I
I'm
think so.
convinced it
I
does.
think so. I think so. And um, yeah, and I think it's a wonderful thing. But the Lancaster for me, it's like a tradition in the family. We'll watch that together.
Yeah.
Me and the boys, and we just absolutely love it. It's just so intense. And then because it's very, very quickly, like from watching, for me, then those guys are at the Worlds, and I'm seeing them all.
Yeah.
Um, and that's cool. To
Yeah.
actually meet them all and see them. Um, and then when you see them go back on the stage again, you got a dog in the fight. You're really like, yeah, come on. You like it. It builds it. I love that. I love that aspect.
And
Um,
the Bearbow seems so bloody redneck as well, which is amazing. I mean, what was that guy the one year? What's his name? Spanky.
yeah,
And I'm thinking, what a cool name. But yeah, it's just,
yeah.
there's something
And
really.
he looks like he's proper. Yeah,
You
yeah,
you
yeah.
expect him to you expect him to walk on in a union suit and dungarees,
Yeah,
but they all,
yeah,
when you look at the high end Olympic recurves and the world, the the World Archery Compound, the barebow guys just look fun and more approachable, if you know what I mean. They look,
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I don't know why that is because I guess it's because it's so young and and new, but it
Yeah.
has that free spirited fun about it. Really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for definite. And I think, look, the bear bow is also it's it's still a trad bow in the sense it's all right. They're string walking. They've got
Yeah.
buttons. I get it, right? It's for us. It's like, or in comparison to the longbow, it's like crazy high tech,
Yeah.
right? But a lot of those guys are still bow hunters. They're still very what I
Oh,
call,
yeah.
all round shooters.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So this year they had longbow for the first year officially,
Yeah. They weren't on
and
the stage. Were they on the stage or not?
no, they weren't. No, no, no.
No,
And
they need,
next year is the first year
yeah, if they get enough, then they get onto the stage at the end, don't they?
stage. That's it. Yeah,
That's going to be
yeah, yeah, yeah,
amazing to watch, that is.
yeah. So I'm debating wherever I go.
You've got to
A
do
load
it.
of the yeah,
You've
a
got
lot
to
of
do
the
it.
like my American friend longbow shooters, off the American team
Yeah.
who I shot with at different times have all gone. Oh, you've got to come over for it. You've got to come over for it. And I would if it wasn't a whole flight
Yeah.
and like the huge interruption what it will be to the family. Um,
I think
my
Rennie
wife,
Becker did it this year, didn't he, from the UK?
yeah, 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 and got on the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, got on the stage as well.
That was
So
incredible.
he's just been interviewed on the push, so I
Yeah.
haven't listened to that yet. Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. Yeah, no, he shot well. He shot well. I've never met him. I've never met him.
You know you've
Um,
made it in trad shooting when you're on the push.
yeah, right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, yeah. So I don't know if I'll go. I like the idea of going for the Lancaster. We'll see. We'll see. It's all comes down to I have my own plans at the moment with I've gone over to split finger so I can shoot
Yeah.
all the three bodies, EFA, World Archery and NAFAS. But I would like to go for the first year it ever gets on the stage. That would be
Oh, yeah, that's a flagship moment, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. But if I go, then I've got to train for it
Yeah.
because if I go, I'm coming home with that badge, right? I've got it, right? If I'm going over there to collect the badge and come home
Yeah,
with it.
you're going over.
There's
You're not going just to enjoy it. You're going over to fucking nail it.
oh, yeah, exactly. In my head, that's how I'm
Yeah.
wired. That's the truth. I'm like, I'm so competitive. It's like it's a little unnatural. So I have to keep it under a cap.
Yeah.
Um, no, and especially strangely, I'm really nationalistic as well.
I am.
Really nationalistic,
I am.
right?
But I think I'm a fucking American.
Right. So I'm British through and through, right?
Yeah.
And the Americans, they have the audience and they have so many um, hunters, top shooters, great information. They've got so much.
Yeah.
But we freaking own them at the Worlds, right? Longbow, they weren't even, any American friends, you weren't even in the race, boys. You weren't even in the race, right? And that's
Did we
Longbow.
win
So
the
there
shit
you go.
talking
That's
as well?
yeah, don't you worry. Don't you worry, yeah. And then traditional class,
Yeah.
Jed Cullen, British again. So we won the two real hunting classes. We won them both. Took away gold.
I saw some of Jed Cullen's scores from NFAS this year. Sorry, last year. Mate, he was putting in fucking compound scores.
He's a machine, isn't he? Absolute
Mate,
machine.
yeah. Jed the
Yeah.
Cyborg Cullen.
Yeah, no,
I
he is.
looked and
He's
I'm
an absolute
thinking,
machine.
this is fucking insane what this guy's doing with the Tradbow. At some point, I will have to reach out to him and see if I can get him on here. Of course, what a
Yeah, definitely.
fucking hell, it's insane. It's like they've got this wrong here. They've put somebody's compound score in with the trad shooters.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, me and Jed are really close.
Yeah.
We do a lot together, and obviously train and practice together.
Who's
As a
got the
British
biggest
team.
gap then?
Jed has got the tiniest gap you've ever seen. and he's proud of it. He's proud of his little gap. But that's how he likes to ride it. That's his style. That's his style. I don't, gotta do it the way you gotta do it. No, he's he's a great shot, great guy. Not really nice guy to shoot with. Really, you can feel the calmness come off of him.
Yeah,
when he's shooting. Right, he's like the opposite of me. Right, he's like sometimes he'll refuse to shoot with me. He'll be like, "No, I'm just not shooting with you. Don't ask to be at a competition shooting with me. I just don't want you in my fucking ear talking the whole way around." Right, and like all the other thing, he'd go, "Would be still when he's about to shoot?" He'd go, "Are you going to move or what? You're stood right on me. Give me at least enough space to pull my own bow back." I'm like, he says, "Is that your breath on the back of my neck? What are you trying to do?" And I'm like, just constantly looking at his form, watching the way he shoots. Because he was like, he was a long way ahead of me. So when I wanted to get on the team, Jed had already been all over it. So I just shadowed him, and he was so good to me. He's saying, "Look, what we do is this," and he just explained the whole thing. When we were in the Europeans, we were roommates. It was just good. It was good to have his support. Really, really was. But the Worlds was something else. It was when he won that gold, I cried. I was like, didn't cry for my own. I was like, when I won my own, I walked off like the children like, "Did I just win that? Did I just win that then? What was that thing where I just happened there, right?" Because you're in it. But when he won, I come running around, I just hugged him, I cried. I was like, wow. And it was so nice because Longbow goes on before trad. Because I went on first. I thought, it might be some pressure on him that I've got gold. But now he's got to come in because he's going for that gold medal match. But nah, he nailed it. Just stuck in there. He's a machine. He just kept plugging. Boom, boom, boom. There was this coolest thing ever, right? Coolest thing ever. This is classic Jed. This is, right? If you know Jed, this is classic Jed. It's the team event, doubles. In trad, Sarah and Jed. They're shooting their way through. It's pouring with rain, right? We're in Slovenia.
Yeah.
And I mean like proper like drops, which would like take an hour out of the sky. We're out there. We're soaked to the bone. And he's out there they're shooting away. And then they're up against, I think, the guy who's like number 3 in the world in trad and the woman who's number 1.
Yeah.
With trad. So this couple, they're Italian. This couple are like the couple, right?
Yeah.
And they shot all the way through, and it's a tie. So then they have to have a shoot off. And the two girls shoot 10-10, and then the guy shoots an 11. And I mean, this thing is like, I think it's like a wolf. I'm pretty sure it's a wolf at distance. And then Jed comes up. So mate's shot is 11. And Jed comes up and he does his classic. He gets right in. And you see the shake come. And he goes through the shake. We're up to like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes hold. And he's still holding. I don't know. He's still building that shot. And he's just building, and the tension's building, and it breaks. And he shoots a dead center 11. Like 30 meters, right? To take the put them then into the gold medal match. He
Yeah.
ended up with silver, but that was one of those classic moments. And I'm in the background screaming, going, "There's only one Jed Cutler." So you just like absolutely love it, right? Um, and yeah, I'm like, tell me whatever you like. NAFAS, because that's what I say, right? We're grassroots 3D shooters, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. I'm not running down Archery GB. It's great. It puts us on the world stage.
Yeah.
But we're created in NAFAS,
Oh, yeah.
right? That's where we're made.
Yes.
It's on those crazy little clubs. You turn up at it and you go, what the fuck is this? Right? Like, you know, and like you can see like half the characters are like, they look like they're in a fucking Robin Hood, Robin Hood fucking, like, you know, like a scene from Robin Hood. They're all coming out with all dressed in their camo gear, you know, and
Mate,
they're weird
I've
like
been as
this,
guilty of that as
right?
anybody.
Right?
I love my
Yeah,
favorite color is camo.
yeah. And they brilliant, right? They all come out, but that's where we learn how to shoot.
Yeah.
Because they'll have like crazy distances on this thing, actually realize this is a strange angle. Your arrow's got to be able to go round an arrow, round a tree to actually get the kill, right? Stuff like this, you know, it's the perfect training ground.
Yeah.
I don't think any other country has it better than us.
No. If you look
And
at
I love the Americans, right? But they weren't in the race for a reason.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the training ground we have. They have something else.
Well, they're
if you want to be a hot
ASA, they're limited on the distance. That's what I said about NFAS. I think I've said it before to the Americans. You know, what's your longest distance shooting trad? And when you say, well, here they shoot with the compounders, you know, you get out to some courses and with a trad bow, you've got a 95-yard shot.
yeah, that's right.
My God,
Yeah.
I remember my daughter started off on one of those cool bear bows that you've got. And I think second year at Liberty, she'd got about a 26-inch draw length on a 26-pound bow. So she's pulling about 24 pound on the fingers. And in all moves, she's at 95 yards. And in all fairness, the 95-yard shot she got within a yard of his hoof with this little cool bow.
Yeah.
I was down to the next shot, which is about 50 yards, and she's 20 yards short.
Yeah.
But she loved that.
Yeah, because like that's what we do, right? And then I just love that. And then one shoot you should do for the experience, right? Once you've had put some hours behind the wheel with your bow and you're feeling comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Come down and do the Bodnik shoot.
Oh,
do you know it?
Yes, I do. I wanted to do that with a compound because I've never been.
No compounds.
Yeah, I know. Apparently, it's a safety thing because of some of the angles and whatever.
Yeah.
But I've always been a fan of realistic length, really technical shots, rather than just, well, we're going to take a 3D stoat and stick it at 80 yards.
Yeah.
I'd rather shoot 30 really, really technical.
Yeah.
That,
so these are
is the challenge, but yeah,
ducks on a lake.
Yeah.
You know, like and you're shooting those ducks probably only 15 yards, maybe a little bit more. But ducks on a lake,
but
they're actual duck size,
isn't it? That's it,
right? Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Some people
that's a change the name in this country, didn't they? Of course, it was on the continent. It's a kill shot challenge, and that upset too many people. No, you can't call that. You can't call it that. You can't think you're going to kill an animal.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah. No, you mustn't shoot duck. Mustn't shoot ducks on lakes, especially not after you've given them bread to get them close enough to shoot them. Never do that. That's wrong, that is. Just in case you were thinking of that.
Who was it? Gamekeeper John, I was watching on YouTube with his slingshot.
Yeah.
Fuck, mate, 25 yards with a slingshot and straight in the side of the head. The duck never knew what hit it.
Oh,
well, he chronoed it. He got a 3/8 steel ball bearing. I can't remember what the weight of it was, but it's a chunk of metal, isn't it? And he
Yeah.
put it through the chrono at 535 feet a second. Thinking this
Wow.
is
I didn't.
fucking insane.
That is insane. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's droid to back here. You know, he'll come all the way back here and let that thing go. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. I
big
got two
guy.
of his catties. Yeah, I got two of his catties here in the studio.
One of
Yeah.
those little
The
clubs.
boys, even this Christmas, the empty spray cans from the studio, we've got like a big polystyrene block. The spray cans go up on top of the polystyrene block, and the boys start smacking the cans over. It's just like stood around waiting for dinner to be made, or I don't know. We're
Yeah.
just talking nonsense. You just stand there together, just like the bow, but
Yeah.
then with the catties. We absolutely love that. No, it's good fun. But no, that competition is brilliant. So much fun.
Well, I know Maddie's going again this year, and I was
She
told
always does really well. I think
she's an absolute freaking sniper, isn't she?
yeah, she is. Yeah. Yeah,
My
yeah,
friend Nathan's got into it this
yeah.
week. He said he was hoping he'd get in, and he said if you've been before, they always get first places, and then it's a bit of a lottery. Anybody else, whether they get in, and he's got in this year, and I am so pleased for him because I know how much he wanted to shoot this, and he should have his new Bodnik recurve with him. He ordered a custom recurve from Henry Bodnik, and
Yeah,
that's
nice.
going to be here in time for him to take it
Nice.
to the
Nice.
Bow Hunter
Yeah.
Challenge.
It's brilliant. It's a brilliant atmosphere. Really, really good little technical shots, like you're saying. Down to like 5 yards in a ditch. It's a
Yeah,
rat. Well, a rat in a ditch at 5 yards, trust me, it's not easy. Yeah, it's cool. And then this year they had some more like in the evening on the Friday setup shots where, for instance, they had a bear at 100 and I think it was 100 and something yards,
wow,
120 yards, and closest to the center, and everyone had to pay £1 to have a
yeah,
shot. And I think there was prize money from that. It's €500 if you win the competition. Bows get one. There's a raffle just for everybody who's gone. Just numbers just get pulled randomly, and there's bows in the raffle. At least 2 bows in the raffle.
that's
I
like
got a really nice
American style
bow case.
prizes, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's just like that. But you know what it is? Because it has a commercial aspect. He's
Yeah,
advertising his stuff.
yeah,
Henry. Someone's thinking, how do I make this really, really cool that everyone loves it?
yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? And also you got Phil involved as well. And Phil's like a legend, so creative,
Is that Phil Peak? Is it Phil Peak?
does the silver work. Tall,
Ah,
really, really tall. He's about 8 feet tall.
Jesus.
Yeah, maybe 9 feet. I could be wrong. Right? Yeah, right. But I forgot Phil's second name. Really bad of me. Again, lovely guy. It's just really, really interesting. And then they go up a tree stand, a hunting stand.
Yeah.
You have a bedded deer, and then who gets closest to a true kill shot.
Yeah,
But you don't know. There's no target there. You just have to do what you think is the kill shot. And
yeah.
Henry would have already marked it beforehand where you can't see where the true kill shot is.
Yeah.
And everyone just does that. And that's
You've
always a
got an
bow.
unfair advantage there then. Being
What
a
if he's
hunter.
already seen it?
No,
Being a
you're
hunter, yeah. Oh, me. Oh no, me being a hunter. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you know I've never done that game because it's done on the Saturday evening and I always drive home. I'm on a short leash. No, I always drive back. I could stay the night, but because the little man's only 2, I've been doing all of this in his younger years, so
yeah.
yeah, so I always make sure I go back. But last year I came in third place in category 3, which is basically trad and barebow.
Yeah.
I shoot in that class because I'm not shooting split finger, because I'm shooting 3-under. I have to shoot with barebow. And then because I came in third, then I was in the running race. You have to run down over, and then you have to shoot a balloon. And what I'd done a couple of weeks before that, we'd gone away on holiday, and every morning I got up and got on a spin bike.
Yeah.
Put a podcast on, because I just hate just lying there. I start, twitching, right? So I'm like, I got to do something to just get a little bit out of myself. But get on this spin bike and I do an hour every single morning, like, really hammer it and then sprint at the end.
Savage.
Yeah, it was. And my quads would be burning afterwards. And I'd do like a little stretch. And then it was the week after that, we had the bodnik. So my quads were tight.
Yeah.
And I ran down over the hill. I tore a muscle in my quad. And I literally heard it go, I heard it go pop. And then I ran in and I'm like, and I start to sweat straight away. I start sweating because I've blown that muscle.
Yeah.
Try to do the shot. Obviously, don't do a very good shot. Walk away. And I'm like, as I'm walking away, everyone goes, "Oh, you missed. Oh, bad luck," sort of thing. And I'm like, just walking away, sweat's coming off me. I'm thinking, oh no, this is bad. And already, like instantly, I feel the leg start swelling.
Yeah.
And I got no ability then to bend the quad. Healed up, had to go for physio. I torn like a hole in my quad with the muscle torn apart. Classic. It healed up. I was surprised actually how quickly it healed and was okay. But the whole of my thigh was black for, just the whole thing went black. That was bloody racing down over that hill like a lunatic.
Well, I know what
I kept saying
I know
have you done your quad?
I did my calf. I did mine in the gayest way possible. I was at the works do, bouncing on the dance floor to a cover band singing Avril Lavigne. And I thought, you seen these low kicks I do in Muay Thai? I thought somebody had done that to the back of my leg, because there was just this searing pain.
Yeah, that's it.
And I heard the bang. That's what made me think it was a kick. It sounded like there was just this really loud slap sound that you heard over the top of the band.
Yeah.
And that was my calf rupturing.
Yeah.
I carried on, got drunk, and carried on walking on it all night, thinking I can just walk this off, not knowing what the fuck I'd done.
Yeah. And was it your right calf?
No, my left calf.
Left calf. Right.
Yeah.
And does that calf get tight normally though through shooting?
No. I mean, at the moment, I can walk on it fine, but there's still some swelling there, and I can feel where the tear was. Right at the back of my calf, and it's like, fuck, that still don't feel good. Yeah.
No, it's a bad one, isn't it?
It's
but
awful.
There you go. Yeah, I know, absolutely awful. And I limped for so long afterwards. I was like, oh god. But no, that's a great shoot for trad shooting. That's one of the best. Yeah.
Because Maddie's put together a second Satori for that, hasn't she? Shooting off the shelf, because she normally shoots off a springy rest with Naki tune. But she said you're not allowed to have anything that influences the spine of the arrow. So she's put together a second bow where she's shooting off the shelf.
Yeah.
Puts I think it's an excuse to buy more bows.
Yeah.
Actually, she's messaged me tonight, sent me a photo of a new riser. She's bought a Hoyt GMX for bare bow.
Oh,
yes.
Nice. Yeah, very, very nice. I got a new bit. I bought myself a bare bow this year again, second hand. One just came up, and I bought myself a Tempest border.
Oh yes.
20. It was a 27-inch. What it is, I'm left-handed.
Yeah.
So left-handed second-hand stuff doesn't come up that often, but it came up and it was cheap. It was like really well priced, basically hardly ever used.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know the guy well. So I knew it was legit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why did I get it? Am I gonna really shoot barebow? I can't. I have to stick on the longbow. I can't do what I want to do and mess around with a barebow. But
You
yeah,
bought it because the correct number of bows to own is X plus one, where X is the amount you currently own.
yeah, yeah, you're right. And yeah, how I justify this stuff.
Go on.
The two older boys. Well, it'd be good for Noah. It would be good for Finley. Yeah.
Well, I was
Yeah, it's
told when
fun.
I decided I was going to try single string. I know that single string shooting has always fascinated me, but I'd never make an intuitive or instinctive or whatever type of shooting you call it because I haven't got that hand-eye coordination. But I've always been fascinated by it. And when I did the episode with Maddie, 4 hours talking with Maddie, and it's right, fuck it, I'm buying one. I've got to try single string.
Oh yeah, you'll love it. You'll love it. And I think
I am already.
yeah, and I think compound helps with it. You
Yeah,
know, because you've got so much of the basics. You know about coming into your back. You know about that hold. You know, it's
yeah.
all there. It's all there. It's just translating it into single string, like
Well,
you say, building up those muscles. It's and when I say about the hand-eye coordination, really what I'm saying is, it's like your phone, right?
yeah,
In the end, you can just use your phone. In
yeah,
the end, everyone can change gear with their left hand,
yeah.
right? Your left hand can't do anything. Well, what? It changes gear. It changes gear for you whilst you're looking where you're going, chatting to somebody else.
Yeah.
And it just does it, right? It
Yeah.
just does. And in the end, your hand, whichever hand you're shooting with, it will just do it
Yes.
whilst you're trying to work the gap out. It will, the body is just amazing, isn't it? That
Yeah.
it can do all of that stuff. A lot of people will like laugh because I do an action when I'm judging the gaps. I swing my hand out.
I'm
I swing my
sorry.
arm out with this,
I
right?
was
And I
just
go like
going
this.
back to your gap when you're thinking I'm swinging.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. I swing it out, and then I know what the gap it is. Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. I drop it down over the target, and then I can see exactly what the gap is. No, and this action of throwing, because it's a bodily action, somehow it gives me a memory, a clear memory. In the
Yeah.
same way as when I pick the phone up, I don't know a number, but all of a sudden I pick the phone up. And when I start doing my
Yeah.
fingers, my body remembers
Yeah.
the numbers. If that makes sense. And it's a little bit like that, like I learned distance to do distance in that way. Judging how far away a target is, because that's the other thing, right? You've got to be accurate on how far away it is.
Yeah.
Know what your gap is going to be.
See, with a compound shooting 300 feet a second, there's a lot of forgiveness there. A lot of it.
Yeah,
I'm happy if I'm within 5 yards on my distance judging. It's something I've never been particularly good at.
yeah. What are you
But
going to do arrow wise for your trap?
carbon. I'm going carbons.
Carbon, and what weight you going?
I'm thinking after speaking to Maddie, and Sice, I run similar weights. I'm thinking between 150 and 200 grain up front,
Wow.
just to make them forgiving.
Mm.
As I get better with my release and cleaner releases, maybe look at lightening up the point of it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
like
yeah.
I say, 4 2-inch feathers on a helical. I know I saw a video with Fred Eichler the other week, and even on when he's shooting wide fixed blade broadheads, he's only shooting 3 2-inch back wing feathers. So I'm thinking, why would I need 4 and 5-inch feathers if my arrows are tuned? And there's no, once I've got a clean release mastered and I can do it repeatedly, I've got no excuse not to bear shaft tune.
No, no,
So
no, no, no. That'll work. Now look, it will give you a very forgiving arrow.
yeah,
Um, Look, get it all tuned up. That will fly fine. It will fly fine. As long as it's tuned to the bow and so on and
yeah,
tuned to you. Um, And I've seen everybody do everything and make it work
Yeah,
as well. That's the other
Rob
thing.
wants me
You
to
know,
try
I'm.
wood.
Huh?
So
Say that again.
Rob wants me to try wooden arrows. So at some point, I probably will. I've already had a mess around. He lent me a tapering jig just so I could learn how to taper a wooden shaft.
Oh, what does the tapering jig look like?
Uh, it's basically just a big slab of wood. Uh, there's a straight one and one you move in. Um, one of my friends, so I could get the right diameter. One of my friends is an engineer and he's got the most amazing man cave in his garden, and he'd got like this nylon stuff that he made and brought it down to. Hang on, there were 5/16 shafts I was playing with. I mean, they're not heavy enough for my recurve. I brought them down to a 9/32. Got a perfect 9/32 tapered hole through this like thick nylon washer he turned up for me, so I could check the consistency at the back, the diameter at the back, to make sure I was getting them just right. At some
And
point,
on the sides of the walls, did it have sandpaper both sides or one side?
both sides,
Mm,
and the he'd got a 9/32 Allen key as well that we could drop in the back hole. That sounds well, doesn't it? So we
yeah,
could bring them in. And no, that back bit was 9/32. And I think it
got
was
it.
just the back 10 inches tapered down from 5/16 to 9/32. But that again
Yeah,
just helps the FOC. But at some point, I'll have a play. At some point, I'll
yeah.
probably have a play. But it's knowing what spine, because again, I'd like to go a little bit heavier up front just to make them more forgiving for me. I mean, at your
Mm-mm.
level,
I
you can get away with
no,
FOC, no problem, can't you?
yeah. I ran my taper was from what is it, 5/11s, is it, or whatever they're called? What are they called? The bigger ended ones.
Eleven
See, I don't
thirty
even fucking know
seconds.
them. 11/32. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I went down to 1/4.
Wow.
Yeah. It's an extreme taper, but again, like I say, I had all my own theories. But
Yeah.
that's what I ran in the Worlds last year, and I also run a 1/4 knock. So I have everybody's like, whoa, what the hell is that? I run the tiniest little knock on my arrows as well
Yeah.
because I want no weight at the back, right?
Yeah.
So then I can run a really light point weight and still have some FOC.
Yeah.
And that's how I did it. I went right the way down, but I've not been able to tune, and I've not put the time in yet because I don't get my new bow until next week.
Yeah.
I've not been able to tune that finely yet, but that's where I'll want to end up again. If I can, I will end up at 1/4 at the back.
Yeah.
And even if that's only 6 inches, not the whole 8,
Yeah.
I still want it to have the least amount of weight right at the back. I do everything I can to save that weight at the back because it's that swinging pendulum of weight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm
And
very,
when I've played with more
fascinated by
point,
the arrows.
when I've played with more point weight, they do seem to fly better, but which high FOC isn't a problem if you're shooting known distance. But when you're judging, the only problem is, yes, they start flying, but when they start to drop, they don't come down in a nice arc. They just seem to fall out the sky.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've either got to shoot known distance or your distance judging's got to be spot on.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. So like again, for the hunting setup, obviously I'm like uh two nearly 300 grains up front. No,
Yeah,
280 up front.
yeah,
280 up front with the collar and everything else. A lot of weight up front, but those arrows steady, like you say.
yeah,
Um yeah, and just have that. If they catch something as they're going by, they're just more stable. They
yeah.
just are more stable. Um yeah. But the
I mean,
wooden arrows, such a you know, such a mess around. You freaking snap them for a pastime.
oh God, yeah.
That's the thing, right?
That's the other thing. I'd be going through shafts like this. I'd have the biggest pile of firewood ever, just
That's
out
what
of
that's
wooden
what I have.
shaft.
That's
Of
what I have
course,
until later on in the season when I've settled everything down, worked out what my arrows doing, worked out all my gaps, worked everything out. Then it will my my use of arrows will go right down. I did the Bodnik shoot.
yeah,
Got all the way through with all my arrows, didn't lose a single arrow.
damn.
And then like the year before, didn't really shoot really much different and killed 6 arrows. How's that possible? But you just clip one, or even if you put it in the target wrong,
Yeah,
they still snap. They still break. You know?
if I'm
um,
shooting around a paddock with friends that shoot woodies, I'm paranoid pulling their arrows out of 3Ds, and I tend to pull them just an inch or two at a time, because if you try and pull all in one, your arm naturally swings up. It's one thing
yeah,
doing that with carbons, of course. They got a straightness memory. Wood hasn't got that. So if I'm pulling arrows and they're woodies, I'm like couple of inches, couple of inches. I'm trying to bring them out dead straight. So there's no risk of me flexing them. I mean, I can understand why some folks get so arsey if somebody goes to pull their wooden arrow out of a target, particularly if they
yeah,
want,
yeah.
they've built them
I,
themselves, they've crested them. They're so invested in these arrows. They're works of art.
oh yeah, yeah. I'm pretty cool. I don't mind. I don't mind people pulling the arrows, bending them. I don't know. I don't honestly. I don't see. I don't know. Just I'm not that precious about them because I don't know. By the next shot, I've lost it or snapped it anyways. I tell you another funny story. I was there. This is the Europeans,
Yeah.
and you got the practice area with all the targets all laid out on the butts and so on. And
Yeah.
um, the medal match. So this is in preparation for the gold medal match.
Yeah.
And we're in the practice butts, and I've got to select. And this was the year, because like the new year, and what it is now, it's 4 targets. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4 targets, 2 arrows each. So that's 8 shots, right? But the year before was the old system,
Yeah.
which was 4 targets, 1 arrow each.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. To breathe wrong, you're out
So
of the competition, aren't
from
you?
like a big game round, E for big game round, to almost like the E for precision round then.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Um, so they said, pick 2 arrows which you're going to use, but you might be able to use the 1 arrow again and again, because by the time they pulled it, by the time you go to the next one,
Yeah.
you could choose that one. Because with a wooden arrow, you can have one which really works for you. And I was there with Ollie Hicks. Do you know Ollie Hicks?
It's a name I
Yeah.
know, yes.
Yeah, he's a young lad. He's about, at the time, I think he was about 16 years old. And he holds like 5 world records.
He's the lad
Took
that
them all
shoots
off.
for Merlin, isn't he?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Took them all off John Demmer.
Oh, you're joking.
No. Told you British are the top shooters. Anyway, and then I was with him and James. James is also an absolute killer
Yeah.
barebow shooter, in the top 10 in the world. I said, okay, guys, I'm going to shoot. Ollie, you can be my arrow, bitch, right? Go and get my arrows for me. And he's like laughing. We're all having a bit of fun, shooting away. I said, but I've got to choose the arrows. And they're passing me arrows. They go, don't look at them so you don't like favor one. Just shoot them, but don't look at them. We're going to pass you different arrows. And we're going to see what consistently lands best. Because even in your own mind, you start to favor an arrow. And the arrow I went with in the end had a bent knock. Had a knock which didn't even come off of it straight.
Damn.
And the arrow in my case, we called it Bent Dave, right? So this is God's honest truth. I won the Europeans with Bent Dave, right? Isn't that crazy, right? And everybody tells you, right? Right? You gotta have this, you gotta have that. But for some reason, Bent Dave just done it for me. Right?
Oh, sorry.
Right?
Bent Dave does it for me.
Bent Dave done it for me that year, right? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely amazing that was. And I brought him back, and you know the truth, lost him in the bloody garden.
Oh my
Lost him in the garden. How's that? How did I do that?
He's
Went
a
out in the
fallen
garden,
hero.
fallen hero. Yeah, just messing around, being an idiot, not like focusing my mind in on anything, and then just shot one across the garden and lost him. It was winter
Ben
time,
Davies no
obviously.
more.
No, no more. Hit that soft, squelchy ground and just buried himself. Gone forever. Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I had to laugh when my boss now thinks I'm clinically insane. Because watching that video you sent me of the worlds, oh lordy, I'm used to seeing trad archers in the bucket hats. Well, I say Ravers made bucket hats cool. Archery GB made them seriously uncool. And you rock out in this ball cap on backwards, and as soon as you're in this ball cap, my boss walks into the stores just as I involuntarily go, "Trad life!" seeing the ball cap backwards. And then you got the Punisher logo on it as well, which made it even better.
Oh, cool, cool. You saw that, did you? Yeah, a few people saw that. That was really cool. When I got back to the club, a load of people had bought the badge as well, you know, and
Yeah,
then they put it all in their quivers. That's a lovely thing. And I tell you what, and I made that point that in the little write up which I'd done before I left, yeah, I was going to shoot
yeah,
in the worlds, but I was only able to go to shoot because of everybody else,
yeah,
right? The club, my friends, my wife. You know,
yeah.
it's a true setup. But I also, when then you're going to shoot for the country, you're like, you're not just doing it for yourself anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you want to fucking stick it to everybody for the home team. Do you know what
Oh
I'm trying to
yeah,
say? You know, like you
yeah,
do, you do. And I think I wrote something like, we're going to go together, guys. We're going to think, what do we destroy destroy dreams and take their souls? You know, basically something like that. You know, we're going to go out there and do it together. But you really feel like that. And then when I got back and everyone's got that badge, like down at the
yeah.
club, and they're all wearing the badge, and they're like, fucking brilliant, brilliant. You know, and you can really feel it that it
Yeah.
meant something for them as well.
Oh
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. So like I'm a little bit. That's why I say it's really weird because I'm monk mode most of the time, and I'm not nationalistic. But whoa, when it comes to shooting for the country and the team and all the rest of it, fucking, we are the kings,
Vive
right?
la
Britain.
Agincourt.
Yeah, right. Honestly, where does that come from? I think it's so primal. It's just so wired in you from
Oh,
when
it is.
when we when we were chimps, right?
Despite what governments tell us, we are tribal. It's
Yeah,
it's in our DNA.
yeah,
So they can tell us nationalism's bad as much as they want. It is hardwired into us to
yeah.
go with
Me,
our
like,
tribe.
yeah, and I just don't talk or think in those ways at any other time.
Yeah.
You put on that shirt, and all of a sudden I'm like, come on, then, let's have it. You
Yeah.
know, where's that come from?
Come and
Where
have a
does
go
that
if you
come
think
from?
you're hard
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, exactly. I am like, I walk out, and the last 2 years, look, Italy dominate. All right,
Yeah.
Longbow. America talks a lot about Longbow, right? Italy shoots Longbow, right? Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't go and collect an Italian shirt. I went and collected an American, right? Shiloh Butts, all the guys from Texas. Of course, I want their shirts, right? They're as cool as hell, right?
Yeah.
But those Italian guys are like, they're stone cold killers.
Yeah.
It's just in the blood, right? They, well, that Italian guy who I shoot against for the final, he knocks out two really good shooters. And
Yeah.
it comes down to one thing. He ain't folded. Put as much pressure on him as you like. He ain't folding. He didn't fold underneath my pressure.
Yeah.
He didn't fold. He was with me going into the last target. I'm turning around. Honestly, this is what's going through my mind. I have just shot an 11-11. So that's like the small ring, 24, right? And then I go to the next one, 24-24, right? The bigger ring, yeah, but it's still 24-24. Then I go up and I shoot a 20. Oh my God, how terrible. And then I shoot the 11, the small one, right? Then I turn around. I'm like, and they're equal going into the last target. I'm looking at them going, what the hell are you doing here still? Didn't you get the message? Get the message. Lie down. Just lie down.
What do I have to do to get you to give up?
Yeah, what do I have to do to give you up? And then I just shot, and it went well. And I shot 2 10s. That was cool. Before that, I had what is it called? The quarterfinal, whatever it is, the one you do before the gold match. I should know these things.
Oh, the semis.
Quarterfinal, isn't it? Semi-final. Yeah. Thank you. Do the semi. And who am I shooting against? Another Italian, right? And so I have my match. That's it. That's what happens. A German shoots against an Italian, a German gets beaten. Yeah. He walks out and says to me, beat that Italian. That's how it starts going. And we'll get very nationalistic, right? The German's just looking at me, beat that Italian. And I went, don't worry, the job's done. Don't worry, right? It's like, good. And I go out, I beat the Italian. And then they go, well, now you'll face the other Italian in the gold medal match. And I just look up and go, you bring me one Italian, I kill him. You bring me another Italian, I'll kill him too. Right? That's what I'm saying. Right? In the crowd with Italians all around me. Right? And I like sometimes like James or Jed are like tapping me on the shoulder and going, Ian, calm it down, mate. Calm it down. Let's come back to our tent, right? You need to calm down, right?
Back to the hotel room and you got a horse's head in your bed.
That's right. Yeah, we're not actually at war, buddy. We're not actually at war. It's a 3D competition. But it does that to you. It does that to you. It just builds you. Yeah. No, it's good. I really enjoy it. Really enjoy it. That aspect of it. And then all the training for it is at home in the garden, which I also love.
Yeah.
And then the other bits are going around to those crazy little naff-ass club shoots, which are bloody brilliant. You've never seen anything like it,
Oh, yeah.
In all sorts of weather. That's the other thing. Me personally, it's a love-hate thing. I hate shooting in the rain because obviously wooden arrows don't perform very well in the rain. But I just love being out in all the weathers. I just love that whole British weather, damp, wet. You pull up some field.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, there's no catering here. Whatever. I love all of that. That is just British 3D.
But if you can learn to shoot in that, you can shoot in absolutely anything, can't you?
That's what I believe. That's what I believe.
I remember watching. I think it was somebody saying why British soldiers are the best in the world because we train in the most god-awful conditions. In the summer, it can be scorching. In the winter, it's freezing. But we have very high humidity. So even if it's hot, you're sweating non-stop. If it's cold because it's humid, it's wicking into your bones. Our soldiers are just fucking tough. Of course, the weather here is absolutely bollocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always hard.
Yeah, no, totally. There's another funny thing I want to share as well. And I hope this doesn't come across in the wrong way or any of it, what I've said comes across in the wrong way because look, at the end of the day, it's all a bit of fun.
Just two archers talking shit and chewing the fat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But another funny one is I'll go to like a little local club shoot and I'll be shooting some guys and they'll start explaining to me how I'm shooting wrong. Or they'll start explaining to me how my equipment's wrong. And I had that at the last shoot I just did. And I have to bite my tongue, right? But I'm like, but that's the fun of it because everybody's out there. Everyone's got their opinion. and everyone knows why their stuff's better than yours,
Yeah.
or why this works and that doesn't, or what you're doing is wrong. Yeah. No,
Everybody's
it's
an
good.
expert in their own backyard.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they can't wait to tell you. Yeah. No, good. I love all of it. It's all good fun.
Yeah, I think you would be an abs. The crowd would love you at Lancaster. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the barebow crowd. If the longbow crowd are the same, you're that kind of character that. I think this is
Oh,
why.
I would take that microphone off of Matey
Yeah,
in the
of
second he went to interview me. Yeah, take that straight off of PJ. I'd be like, fucking, and I'd explain to the Americans why I'm handing them their ass with an American flatboat, right? Right? That's the first thing I would do, right? And then I would be like, yeah, I just love that. I'd love that. I would. It all just got to be balanced with work, family, and
Yeah.
we
I
got
think
a
this is
2-year-old.
why barebow is so phenomenally popular and why it's growing so fast. I mean, Dem has done so much to grow it, hasn't he? I mean, he walks
Yeah,
out there and he's up in his loud shorts and his mismatched shoes, and he just parties with a bow, and that's what.
yeah. And he has such a humble nature as well. To be
Yeah,
fair, he has such a humble nature. That's naturally who he is.
yeah.
Um, Naturally, I'm just a motor mouth. That's the truth. The bigger the crowd gets, the bigger the audience gets, the more I've got to say.
Yeah,
Right? That's just who I am.
but
I'm not, it's
that's
just,
what archery needs. It needs making entertaining, especially
yeah,
if you're not an archer and you're trawling through YouTube and you come across Lancaster. For other archers, compound's fascinating to watch, but for Joe Public, it's going to be boring as hell.
yeah,
And I think it's fact when they're going about scoring in barebow, it's barebow close. You know, if you got 4 points between two archers coming up to the last end in the compound, it's all over.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
look at Demo. He's missed targets. They call it doing a demo, don't they? When you miss the
oh yeah,
target
yeah,
completely.
oh yeah,
Barebow
yeah,
close. It's exciting and it's fun and it's entertaining to watch. And I think that's how we grow the sport. It's got to be entertaining. And
yeah,
barebow at Lancaster is. And I hope if they bring Longbow onto the big stage, I hope that's the same as well. A party with a bow and arrow.
yeah, yeah. No, if they bring it on the stage, I've got to do it one year, haven't I? It's got to be done. Got to go down there.
Oh yeah,
I said to Jed messaged me the other week, are we going this year? And I said, yeah, we'll go. But obviously, let's get through this year. And the
life to get out of
wife's
the
got
way, isn't it? Life.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
I go, this is not what I do for a living. This is just, really, it's just for the fun of it and for
Yeah,
the it's more than fun though, and it's more than just competition. It's dedicating yourself to something that you get growth in
yeah,
yourself. It might sound really silly, and especially after all the other stuff I said, but I honestly believe to truly master the bow is to master yourself, because
that's very zen.
because that state of mind to be able to perform under high pressure
Yeah,
requires you to be able to hold pure presence.
yeah,
Because if you're not holding pure presence, you're thinking. And if you're thinking, you have anxiety.
yeah,
And then you can't shoot. I watch very, very closely the shooters and how their body language changes, what happens, why they shoot well and why they don't shoot well at different times. And I'm constantly watching it, and I can instantly see that's when they flipped over. Like when Oliver won the Lancaster this year, his last round, I saw him take the foot off the kill mode, and his mind went somewhere else.
Yeah.
It was either don't fuck it up, don't lose it. In other words, you start shooting, trying not to miss, which would destroy you. Or whatever his mind did, it went somewhere else. And it will be one form or another, don't miss. And then he had to draw himself back into it again. And he only ended up winning by 1 point after he had that huge lead.
Yeah.
And psychologically, to remain present, that's what I say, to master that is to master yourself.
Yeah.
I really believe that. And I think that's, for me, why the daily practice on my own, even if it's just 12 meters across the studio.
Yeah.
Because there is a point when target panic comes in, shoot, shoot, shoot. There's another point when, oh, there's space there. What is that? That feels a bit weird. When you're holding, there's all that strange stuff happening, and you've got to try and find that, what I call the calm place.
Yeah.
Calm behind, so that travels through you, then try and find that calm and hold to that place, and then shoot your shot. Yeah. And it's that daily practice, I think, which is so valuable in all of your life. And I think it enriches all of your life.
Yeah.
That's what I guess I'm trying to say, is it's more than, it enriches it through fun with your mates, it enriches it through learning, chatting about it, sharing it. But then the actual practice of it enriches your life as well.
Yeah.
Finding that what you accurately saying is like a Zen state.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I'm in the pursuit of, is that self-mastery. It's the main, is the pursuit behind the pursuit. Which I don't talk about much, and I don't share much, and certainly not down the club with the guys. They're like, oh, here he goes, he's been on drugs again. But it for me, it is a thing. That's always in my mind. And then that, and like I said, then that other thing of shooting for the country and going to war. You know?
That's
that's
something I want to ask you. When you're on about, when they come up and you see that little tremble there, is that a natural part of the shot process? Because when I was shooting at the club last Saturday, one of the guys said to me, when I'm up here, as I'm bringing that shoulder back, I do get a little bit of tremble there. And watching things like the Push There videos, you see when they're there, they're getting a little bit of tremble. And one of the guys said, you must be doing something wrong because you got a tremble. Is that a natural part of it as you're tensioning up to come back?
I think so, yeah. And I think what it is because the tremble is, to a degree, is when you're holding as well.
Yeah.
In the sense, you've not gone any further, but you're there and you're right on it and you're right on it and you're right on it. I get it. There's some of my best shots. Last summer, South Wilkes went down with Jed and was chasing him around the club, points wise. And, I was holding so long, I was getting what I call a lovely tremble.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect the shot in the sense of your accuracy. So I think it is. Don't always get it. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's something necessarily you should try and get, but I don't think it's something you should worry about. It just seems to happen
when I'm loading up. I mean, I've got to slow my shot down slightly because it gets to a point and I think this should have gone now, and kind of it's just learning to just steady it instead of rushing it.
Yeah. Thing is as well, how long have you been shooting the bow?
This one, 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're the same as me. My boys, like, they pick up the bow and like 1 week later their body's adapted to shooting the bow, but it's just not like that for me. I'm looking at around about 3 months for my body to have adapted, really actually adapted. That I built a little bit of extra strength, and it's not just the strength in like get the bow back. I mean, like, to be able to hold it and be comfortable. I think like ligaments have got a little bit stronger. Everything's got a little bit stronger. I think at 3 months. And I think what you'll find is in 3 months' time, you'll have more strength because the lack of strength to a degree rushes the shot as
Yeah.
well. Because if you keep putting poundage on the bow, more and more poundage on the bow, you will induce target panic in the end.
Yeah.
Because anything which puts you under a lot of strain, you're not in good alignment, those things all prod at that area.
Yeah.
Of like creating more stress, and the more stress creates more target panic. They all add fuel to it. Let's put it that way. They don't create it; they add fuel to it.
Yeah.
Target panic at the end of the day is purely the body wants to avoid the explosion.
Yeah.
But the bow going off.
I think you're frozen there. That's quite a dramatic pose it's frozen on, isn't it?
Frozen. I've got power cut.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I'm now running on. Can't see me, can you?
No. I've got a black stripe
No,
in
no.
the screen.
Yeah. I'm running on 4. I'm running on 4G now.
Oh wow, yeah, you
So
sound like
I'm
a
going
Dalek
to
in a
nip
biscuit
over to
tin.
the house. That means they've got no power in the house as well.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, okay, buddy. Well, look.
I think we're gonna have to call it a night there then.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. It's been so much fun. It genuinely has.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Cool, buddy. Cool.
No
I'm gonna
problem.
try and get out of here. But look, thank you. Thanks very much. If I sound Daleki, sorry about that, guys. Literally got a power cut. I'm sat in the pitch darkness. I'm in the studio. So, Richard, we will catch up again. I'm going to put the light on my phone. Get across the house.
Definitely. I'd say I'd love not knowing a lot about people when I have them on. Of course, I said to you, it's like a conversation, a discovery. There's so much to learn. Folks, I'll drop all of Ian's social media links down in the show notes. Oh, there you are.
Power.
You got power on again. Oh, fantastic.
Right, I'm going to sit down a second, but I will.
Wow, that's a gorgeous looking studio.
Yeah. Just spin around. There you go. Look.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh when you see the Americans saying, I'm shooting in the basement. I've only got 25 yards. It's like, the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
You know, a house with a 25-yard basement over here, you're paying millions for.
Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, hang on. Why's my bloody hell? It's all right. My watch was buzzing like crazy. I've suddenly got about 37 notifications appeared on my watch. Oh, no. We've gone 10 o'clock. How long have we been going? I don't know why. I can't see a time.
8, 9, 10, 3 hours.
Wow. Bloody hell. You're late for bed, aren't you? Because you're a 9 o'clock.
I know, I am.
Guy.
I'm a 9 o'clock baby. I know.
I'm getting earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
I'm getting earlier and earlier at night as I realise how much better I function with a really good night's sleep. I think I still try to do like when I was late teens, early 20s, going out clubbing all the time, where you'd go out clubbing, get home 6 o'clock in the morning, have a shower and out to work, still with a club stamp on the back of your hand. And I could do that 4 or 5 nights a week. Oh, I think we've lost Ian again. Folks, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. I'll try and have the audio up tomorrow night, but we've got the prep for Paget shoot tomorrow, the final prep for the shoot. And we've got the shoot of Paget, the open shoot of Paget on Sunday. I'll get these up as soon as I can. Like I say, I've got to say a huge thank you again to Ian for being such an amazing guest. Remember, folks, hang on, I've just got to get this here so I can stop the recording when I'm ready. Stay safe, shoot straight. Bye bye.